Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Beast Control, Hatching the Ancient Dragon at the Beginning. Chapter 1, Blue Star Alliance, Dongguan Kingdom, Z Province, Hongyan City Ecological Research Institute Family Residential Area. A young man with black hair and brown eyes was sitting on the bed staring at a red kitten with a serious look on his face. Next to the bed is a 1-meter-high egg incubator. The upper half of the egg incubator is round and there are several large pieces of red and black eggshells scattered in it. The young man's name is Li Chang'an, and he is a person who traveled from the Celestial Dynasty, was reincarnated from the Celestial Dynasty. The kitten in front of me is not a cat, but an ancient dragon named Hellflame Dragon. And now this seemingly cute but actually terrifying little kitten is dependent on him. The thing is, the story happened one day ago. The memory of Li Chang'an's past life has not yet awakened. He is just an ordinary high school student in Dongguan Kingdom, Blue Star. Although his family is richer and his father has more power, he is still a young boy. No, to be precise, he is still a youngster in the field of beast control. Young people from the Dongguan Kingdom who want to register as official beast masters in the Beast Control Association need good academic performance. The final exam in high school is a top priority. As the final exam was approaching, he couldn't help but want to contract a beast, so he went to a second-hand informal market. At the egg gambling shop, I spent all the 1.2 million pocket money I had saved over the past 10 years and bought a giant egg with no date. According to the vendor's boast, a dragon might hatch out of it, and the stupid little Chang'an believed it. After buying the eggs, I ran home excitedly and took the instruments in Father Li's study to test them. Hey, he's a fool. Xiao Chang'an, who had never experienced the dangers of society, was furious on the spot, and his strong emotions promoted the awakening of Xiao Chang'an's talent. The talent that originally needed to be awakened through the unification ceremony after the final exam of the second year of high school went berserk. Xiao Chang'an failed to control the violent energy of his talent, so his consciousness was torn apart by this energy. Then the memory of Li Chang'an's previous life awakened. The personality consciousness of more than 30 years in the previous life absorbed and fused the fragmented memories of Xiao Chang'an. So there is Li Chang'an now, and the extra Gulong kitten around him after waking up. After a sudden flash of little Chang'an's memory, Li Chang'an collapsed. Not only was the memory of his unlucky death in his previous life, but also the cute creature in front of him. In his previous life, Li Chang'an had an annual income of 6 figures, a daughter, a house, and both parents. He died of a blue-ringed octopus that got into the octopus barbecue while on vacation at the company. Then the first thing he saw when he woke up was a disaster that could be called the end of the world. This made Li Chang'an feel a little dazed. The memories of Xiao Chang'an came flooding back like a tide. The world he lives in this life is called Blue Star, which is similar to the name of the protagonist of an action game he played in his previous life. The Blue Star was originally a planet with a similar development history to the Earth. Until 570 years ago, humans from all over the world discovered similar ancient ruins at almost the same time. But what followed was the opening of void passages around the world. On the other side of the passage were various ancient and terrifying creatures. So the catastrophe of Blue Star began. At first, the technological weapons of the humans on Blue Star were unable to cause harm to those ancient creatures, until humans explored the method of contract in the ruins. Using the combination of technology and the power of pet animals, humans have the ability to fight back. The era of cataclysm has officially begun. After 200 years of bloody fighting, the human side finally defended its homeland, even though it has been changed beyond recognition. Due to humanity's initial victory, the worlds on the other side of the passage were temporarily defeated. These worlds merged into the Blue Star, which had expanded hundreds of times compared to its original size. At this time, the danger level of Blue Star is countless times more terrifying than that of the Cataclysm era. With the continuous integration of other worlds, humans have found that with their current strength and population, they can no longer hold such a large space. The shrinkage of survival territory is inevitable. Later, with the completion of the Great Migration, many of the places where they originally lived became completely restricted areas. Order was unstable, transportation was inconvenient, and chaos seemed to be coming. Soon the Blue Star Alliance launched the establishment of the Hunters' Union and the Blue Parliament. More and more beast masters became hunters and reopened the new homeland of mankind. At this moment, the era of cataclysm comes to an end, and the era of hunters begins. After 300 years of continuous hunting and development, mankind has once again established a firm foothold on this new home planet. As social conditions improve and the population needs to be replenished, humans no longer seem to need to open up wastelands so frequently. They need a certain amount of time to rest. There is no need for so many hunters. After a long period of social stability, the age of hunters gradually came to an end, and a new era of beast control began. The Beast Control Association, established 50 years ago, has replaced the functions of many hunter unions and has become a symbol of the new era. But the Hunters Guild has not disappeared, it is still there, because there are still many places in the world that humans have not yet set foot on. As mentioned before, they also need to rest, and humans need to digest these living areas that are dozens of times larger than before. When we take a breath of relief, human expansion will begin again as recorded in history. 30 years after the establishment of the Beast Controlling Association, the comprehensive popularization of beast control education in Dongguan Kingdom has been initially completed. It is now 50 years since the establishment of the Beast Mastering Association. After 20 years of checking and filling vacancies, beast masters in Dongguan Kingdom have become a very common profession. Almost every Dongguan person will contract a pet beast, and people of the older generation will also raise a weak pet beast through a beast ring for fun. Nowadays, the easiest way for young people in Dongguan Kingdom to become registered official beast masters is to study. If you pass the final exam of the third year of high school and the strength of your pet reaches the standard, you can register as an official beast master with the Beast Master Association. In the first year of high school, there are subjects such as basic beast master knowledge and pet animal training. There are internships in the summer, which are used to determine the content of the second year of high school. The second year of high school exams consist of Chinese, mathematics and 3 animal languages, as well as geography and comprehensive biology. The practical exam involves preparing a basic pet food. After passing the exam, the school will issue a trainee beastmaster qualification. Regardless of whether they are rich or poor, they all go to the Institute of Ecology, where Lee's father works, at the beginning of the summer vacation to receive the initial pet beast. If not, you need to apply 3 days in advance. What a torture it is to be born into a wealthy beast-controlling family but not be able to escape in advance. This is why little Chang'an couldn't help but buy an egg before the final exam for his sophomore year of high school. Along with the world background memory, there is also the identity and background of the kitten in front of me. Prison Flame Dragon, the founder of the name Hongyan City, a member of the Ancient Dragon clan. The so-called Ancient Dragon is actually a generally recognized name for the ancient beast family. They are not dragons. It's just that many ancient dragons have dragon horns, dragon scales and other features on their bodies, so they are called dragons. The ancient dragon is an existence that is superior to the ecological niche of the high-level pure-blood dragons. It controls the power of nature and incarnates natural disasters that sweep across the earth. Therefore, it is also called a disaster beast. The best of the ancient dragon lineage can easily change the natural environment of a large country within a month. These existences have the name of real natural disasters. For example, the predecessor of the Hell Flame Dragon in front of me is a beast of disaster known as the Fire King. Dongguan Kingdom sacrificed the lives of a saint, 3 guardians, and a large number of legendary beast masters to kill the Flame King. The city established at the place where King Yan fell was Hongyan City, where Li Chenggan was located. The blood of the ancient dragon dyed the earth red, and the soil in Hongyan City was different from other places. It was as bright as blood, but very fertile. There are a lot of fire beasts here, and there is also a continuous volcano group outside Hongyan City. Meow. The red kitten tilted its head and looked at Li Chenggan aggrievedly, as if asking, "Why are you ignoring me?" For some reason, Li Chenggan can sense the kitten's emotions. Suddenly a bold idea came to his mind. Perhaps. How about trying to contract this ancient dragon? Li Chenggan's searcher Xiao Chenggan's memories seem to have no precedent of contracting an ancient dragon. There is also no mention of the caveat that humans cannot contract with ancient dragons. Well, at least the large collection of books in Father Li's study didn't say no. How about giving it a try? There are two major difficulties for human contracted beasts: compatibility and mental strength. The standard of Dongguang Kingdom's spiritual power is talisman, named after the divine talisman that measures spiritual power. An adult without professional training must have a mental strength of 1 character, and only if the mental strength reaches 5 characters can he or she be able to construct a soul contract. Hongyan Number 1 Middle School, where Xiao Chenggen attends, conducts a physical examination every semester. According to the last physical examination report, Xiao Chenggen's mental power was 9.5. He and Xiao Chenggen have the same soul, but they have different personalities. The personality in the previous life occupies the broken personality in this life, and they can completely form a soul contract. The second is the degree of compatibility. If the degree of compatibility between humans and pet animals is above 10%, the contract success rate will be 20%. For every 10% increase in fit, the success rate will also increase by 10%. The higher the degree of compatibility, not only the higher the success rate, but also the greater the benefits of cultivating the pet in the future. For some reason, Li Chenggen felt that the compatibility between himself and the little guy in front of him was not low, or even very high. Is it because you hatched it yourself? Still, seeing the kitten rubbing its head against him, Li Chenggen finally gritted his teeth and picked up the clingy little guy. He said to the little cat's big glasses, "I will form a soul contract later, don't resist." The little cat seemed to understand the meaning of Li Chenggen's words, and its body less than 20 centimeters obediently squatted on his hands. He cried out very spiritually, "Meow." Okay. Li Chenggen inexplicably had the idea of a kitten in his heart, and became increasingly certain that he and the little guy in front of him were very compatible. So from the complicated memories, I dug out the fragments of Xiao Chenggen practicing the soul contract. After getting acquainted with each other for a while, Li Chenggen and the kitten sat face to face on the cartoon cat carpet in the room. Li Chenggen followed his body's instinct, activated his mental power, and gradually built a repeated contract formation in his brain space. Star carving formation. It comes from the development of ancient ruins and is the first choice of most beast control masters on Blue Star. When the star carving formation in the brain space was completely formed, Li Chenggen suddenly opened his eyes and extended his index finger towards the kitten. The little guy also cooperated very well. He stretched out his pink and tender soles and touched Li Chenggen's index finger. The power of the star carving formation was sent into the kitten's body along the index finger. The little guy tilted his head, looking like he suddenly realized something. Asterisk. Li Chenggen waited for a long time, but did not get any feedback from the contract formation, and felt a little uneasy. His mental strength cannot last long. The kitten's claws on its outstretched paws were slightly forceful and pricked Li Chenggen's index finger. A drop of bright red blood flowed down the cat's paws into the kitten's body. Li Chenggen also felt something strange on his finger, and his first reaction was that he had been tricked by this cute little thing. Immediately afterwards, his mental power collapsed, and the star formation in the brain space shone with light, looking very unstable. In an instant, a dark red shadow followed Li Chenggen's heart and stepped on the star formation. The star-carved formation that disappeared and appeared was stabilized in an instant. The star mark in the center of the formation gradually extended into a sharp star sword, and then completely formed. The dark red shadow roared up into the sky, and a doomsday-like scene appeared in Li Chenggen's mind. The volcano erupted, the earth shattered, and countless flames from purgatory rose into the sky, burning the sky. The scene ends with a planet reduced to ashes. Boom, boom, boom. Li Chenggen's heart was beating violently like an ancient war drum, and an innate killing intent and disregard surged out of his heart. What the hell kind of emotion is this? Am I so irritable? The culture engraved in the bones of the previous dynasties, the benevolence, justice, propriety, wisdom and trust expounded by 5,000 years of history. The basic morals cultivated by 9 years of good education gradually suppressed this inexplicable emotion. When he was completely suppressed, the drumbeat in his heart reached a climax, and an ancient and noble aura affected the little kitten along with the soul contract. At that moment, the little kitten's eyes were much more agile, and the proud bloodline hidden deep in the depths finally left traces of the name Li Chenggen. Li Chenggen opened his eyes and then fell down. The last thing he saw was the little guy's panicked eyes and that familiar feeling. Grass as a plant. It's the awakening of talent. The second talent awakening. The little guy circled Li Chenggen's fallen body a few times, raised his head and felt the soul contract with Li Chenggen. After discovering that Li Chenggen was fine, he breathed a humane sigh of relief. His little paws smoothed the fur on the blanket and found a comfortable position near Li Chenggen's head. He yawned, exposed his pink and tender tongue, balled up into a ball and fell asleep quietly. Li Chenggen dreamed that he was in the desert and encountered a sandstorm. Because he didn't wear a mask, his nose always felt itchy. Just when he couldn't help but sneeze, he woke up. What appeared in front of him was a little red cat covered in red scales. Li Chenggen stood up suddenly and touched his heart with lingering fear. Fine, what about the contract? Li Chenggen calmed down and saw a magnificent star-carved formation suspended in the space of his mind. The center of the formation is a simple one-star mark, but the edges of the formation are covered with complicated patterns that make people dizzy. What does the star-carving formation for a successful contract look like in the textbook? Forget it, just survive. A belated excitement flooded his nerves. I successfully contracted the initial pet beast. Still an ancient dragon. Since Li Chenggen woke up, his feeling of strangeness to another world has disappeared a lot. How can we describe this feeling of interconnected souls? It's like being in a dry no-man's land and suddenly one day finding companions and water, the joy and relief that arise spontaneously. Oh, by the way, there is also a sudden awakening of talent. Li Chenggen suddenly remembered that he had awakened a talent before he fell into coma. So he immediately used his soul contract to check his own situation. Name: Li Chenggen. Race: human race. Strength level: level 0. Talents: ingenuity, heart of the ancient dragon. Ingenuity is Xiao Chenggen's awakened talent, and his awakened talent is the heart of the ancient dragon. Dexterity, ability to use hand movements dexterously. Heart of the ancient dragon increases the affinity towards the ancient dragon to the highest degree, and is 100% compatible with the ancient dragon. After seeing the introduction of Heart of the Ancient Dragon, Li Chenggen, you finally understand why you can survive. 100% compatibility, it would be a shame if he failed. There is also an unparalleled intimacy. No wonder the little guy is so affectionate to him. As for the other talent, he hasn't found any shining point yet, and it doesn't seem to be very important. Oh, and there's the little guy's panel, too. After successfully contracting a pet beast, the soul contract can perfectly feedback most of the pet beast's information, and the effect can be called an eye of insight. Of course only your own pets. Li Chenggen couldn't wait to check the little guy's panel information. Name: Ryan Discatal. Race: Hellfire Dragon. Attributes: level: juvenile stage. Potential: natural ability. Low-level skills: Hellfire contact level, Flame Claw contact level. Intermediate skill: Flame Spirit Coil contact level. Status: asleep. 3 skills, one of them is an intermediate skill. Li Chenggen, who had all the knowledge of Xiao Chenggen, was shocked. He knew what it meant. Pet beasts are not the Pokemon games of the previous life. Newly born pet beasts will basically not have any powerful skills. Basically, there are only howls or hits. These 2 skills can either loudly remind the person to feed, or use the body to remind the person that it is time to feed. How can a little guy like this be born with 3 attack skills, one of which is a mid-level skill that only elite-level beasts can learn? It's just that he didn't have enough martial arts written on his face. And the little guy is different from ordinary pet beasts, he also has a real name. This is very similar to the high-level pure-blood dragon clan and those pure-blood mythical clans. Li Chenggen lowered his head and pondered for a while. He really should give the little guy a name, just in case. According to Xiao Chenggen's memory, the real name does not have power, but it involves cause and effect. This is especially obvious for humans and advanced races. If someone uses a pet with special attributes to perform a curse ritual, then the pet beast whose real name is revealed will appear extremely passive. It may even be life-threatening. Forget it, let's wait until the little guy wakes up and ask for his opinion. Li Chenggen carefully picked it up and placed it on his bed, covering it with a small blanket with gentle eyes. Then he walked out of the door and went to Mother Li's studio to find some milk to prepare. After that, he returned to the room and used the computer to check specific information about the world. After briefly browsing the webpage and combining it with the memories in his mind, Li Chenggen temporarily relaxed. Nothing major is going to happen in Dongguan Kingdom recently, and his life is still guaranteed. But a fragment of memory caught his attention. Life was guaranteed, but studies were not. Li Chenggen slapped his forehead in pain. There will be a final exam on Monday, the day after tomorrow. The 4 courses of Chinese, mathematics, geography and comprehensive biology have Xiao Chenggen's memory foundation, so there will be no problem. There is no problem in making food for pet animals. Xiao Chenggen has practiced it many times. It is nothing but the instinct of his body. Only the animal language course was really difficult for him, a visitor from another world. Even Xiao Chenggen, a top student, was suffering in this class, let alone him. The high school beast language class in Dongguan Kingdom includes 3 major beast languages, Del, Slu, and Dragon, respectively, from 3 ethnic groups that have formed an eternal alliance with Dongguan Kingdom. The Del language comes from the Alu tribe, the Slu language comes from the Yahanting tribe, and the Dragon language comes from the Shenlong tribe. The Alu tribe is a small tribe of orcs. Their specific appearance is that of a standing cat, but their intelligence is the same as that of a human adult. At present, the Alu tribe can be found everywhere in Dongguan Kingdom. For example, in Li Chenggen's mother's tea house, there are Alu cats making snacks at work. The intelligence of the Yazun tribe is not as high as that of the Alu tribe. They usually only have the intelligence of a 7 or 8-year-old child. Occasionally, the intelligence of mutant individuals can reach human standards. But not much. The tooth hunters are small and medium-sized orcs. Their specific images can be divided into hounds walking on all 4s and kobolds standing on 2 feet. Most of the fangs are the former that walk on all 4s, while the latter are mutated individuals that look like orcs. Of course, both can be contracted by humans. Adult tooth hunters can grow to 2 meters tall, and mutant individuals can grow to more than 4 meters tall. The current record is 6 meters and 3 meters tall. Unlike the Alu tribe, which can provide living assistance to humans, the Yazun tribe usually excels in hunting and fighting. They are the right-hand assistants of human beast masters. The combat capabilities of the beast masters assisted by the Tooth Hunter clan and the beast masters assisted by the Toothless Hunter clan are simply 2 worlds apart. Finally, there is Dragon language, which is the most difficult of the 3 animal languages. It originates from Tianlong Island, an ally of Dongguan Kingdom. Although there are many types of dragon languages of the Dragon clan, there are only 3 that are truly effective: the Divine Dragon language of the Dongguan Divine Dragon clan, the Giant Dragon language of the Jinlan Empire, and the Ancient Beast language of the Ancient Dragon clan. Practical effectiveness is the so-called law of words, which is powerful language. In fact, Dragon language does not account for a large proportion in high school animal language courses. Most of them are questions used to draw points at the end. They are also a test used by Dongguan Kingdom to select talents with dragon affinity. In such a short period of time, Li Chenggen could not adapt to any subject. Just as he howled in pain, the little guy woke up and was awakened by the smell of the thermos cup placed next to the computer desk. Meow, so hungry. A childish voice suddenly appeared in Li Chenggen's mind, very clear and slightly confused. His first reaction was that it was haunted, but he soon realized, oh, it was the little guy who woke up. Li Chenggen turned around and saw the kitten struggling to stand up, and then crawling up his trouser legs with ease. The little body skillfully turned over to the computer table, unscrewed the thermos cup on the table, and drank the hot milk. Li Chenggen blinked. Why was this scene so unusual but also felt like it should be? A newborn clone uses a thermos cup so skillfully that he still drinks from it. Isn't it like how cats drink by licking? Ryan, how do you know how to use a thermos cup? The little guy drank all the hot milk in the thermos cup and licked the white milk stains on the side of his mouth. Said loudly, meow, 1 more drink. Li Chenggen humorously took the thermos cup handed over by the little guy and went to his mother's room to get some hot milk. After 2 bottles of hot milk, the little guy burped. Meow, Cheng'an, what did you just say? Li Chenggen. After Li Chenggen told the little guy his doubts, the little guy explained matter-of-factly. Meow, meow, I am Cheng'an's partner, isn't it normal to know this? Li Chenggen was stunned for a moment, and the memory in his mind flashed back quickly, and finally stopped at a teaching class. This class is about the impact of soul contracts. The beautiful lecturer invited from the province was wearing an OL outfit, wrapped in translucent black stockings, and wearing a pair of black high heels, and she meticulously described the content of the soul contract. Many classmates in the audience were staring at the 2 inches below the lecturer's shoulder blades and the area not covered by the hip-covering skirt. Only Xiao Chang'an, a beast-obsessed man, was absorbing the knowledge of the beast master like crazy. Well, the person looks okay, but the torso is too thin and cannot reflect the beauty of the hip-covering skirt. Li Chang'an objectively evaluated the appearance in his memory. The female lecturer once said, "The soul contract is not a master-servant contract. Although it has the attributes of master and slave, it is closer to an equal contract in nature." In other words, the soul contract is two-way. Especially the initial pet beasts, the cubs will be affected by the character and memory of the beast master, and become more in line with human society. Humans are the same. They will be affected by the bloodline hidden in the body of the pet beast. The higher the level of the pet beast, the greater the influence it will have on you. After contracting a large number of beasts indiscriminately, many beastmasters' personalities have undergone tremendous changes, and even their personalities have split, giving birth to many antisocial extraordinary people with twisted personalities and crazy. The original evil god cult was led by these people, so every contract with a pet beast needs to be carefully considered. Not only the compatibility, but also the temperament, character, and race must be considered. Otherwise, I don't want to see your wanted notice in the Beast Mastering Association one day. Recalling this, Li Chang'an remembered that the urge to kill before was probably from the bloodline of the Hell Flame Dragon. He breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily he suppressed it, otherwise he would have become a psychopath within a few days of living in another world. Who can bear this? No wonder the school requires students not to contract initial pet beasts without authorization. When a group of brats with imperfect outlooks and psychological defenses encounter this kind of thing, they will most likely break their defenses and become self-destructive. Then he yelled that it was not me who was wrong, but the whole world. There are too few cases of successful suppression like him. Li Chang'an knew that the little guy was not lying before, and its abnormality could also be explained by the influence of the soul contract. So why doesn't he have any memory of the ancient dragon himself? Meow. I've blocked it temporarily. Li Chang'an looked at the little guy who was yawning in his arms and was very puzzled. Meow. Some memories are not very consistent with human points of view and are prone to trouble, so they are blocked. Oh, Li Chang'an suddenly realized, too, just by the murderous aura before. You can also take a peek at the leopard. The inherited memory of the Hell Flame Dragon may not be so friendly. Can you sort out some of your recipes and some Warcraft information? Warcraft refers to those wild and untamed creatures that have not been contracted by humans. That is, those who are contracted by humans are called pet beasts, and those who are not contracted are called monsters. Fully reflects the moral standards of human beings. The little guy finally gave a mosquito-repellent incense eye and said, "Meow. It's so good." Then she fell asleep in his arms again. Li Chang'an originally wanted to discuss the nickname with him, but the little guy was too sleepy. I can't bear it. No matter what race they are, cubs are like this when they are young. They eat and sleep, and spend very little time awake. Li Chang'an put the little guy on the bed and originally planned to go downstairs to find some food. There is an inexplicable memory in my mind, and this memory is growing. It's a message from the little guy. Li Chang'an glanced at the sleeping kitten with relief. It was indeed my cat. Oh no, it's my dragon. He can work even while sleeping. Based on the information from the little guy, Li Chang'an initially sorted out 3 major pieces. And food, light materials, Warcraft information, and language. Especially for languages, Li Chang'an was surprised to find that these languages included the 3 major animal languages to be tested in the final exam. Due to the infusion of memory, Li Chang'an now knows the content of the exam with ease, and the burden on his body is instantly reduced. Regarding the little guy's future food, Li Chang'an also fully realized the martial virtues of the Hell Flame Dragon clan. After the Hell Flame Dragon baby is born, it eats nutritious breast milk and high-quality volcanic rocks. Even at the time of birth, the parents of the prison flame dragon began to exercise the digestive ability of the cubs. High-quality volcanic rock is what exercise is made of. After that, the cubs leave the infancy stage and enter the awakening stage. During the racial talent awakening stage, they need to be weaned and eat fire attribute ores and meat. After leaving the awakening stage and officially entering the extraordinary level, the diet becomes an omnivorous diet of minerals, meat and some plants. When you reach the elite level, you have to eat 10,000 Dongguang coins of Hellfire Stone as your daily food. The Red Lotus Stone, Dusk Stone and more outrageous things that followed made Li Chenggen's heart feel cold. Even their family can hardly afford this meal. Li Chenggen was about to cry, but if he wanted the strength of Cologne, he had to be able to afford Cologne's food expenses first. Fortunately, it is still affordable in the early stage. In the future, when the little guy reaches the extraordinary level and registers for the Beastmaster qualification certificate, he can go to the hunting ground and obtain resources. Initial realization of self-sufficiency. Li Chenggen sighed. He remembered that he still had reserves of high-quality volcanic rocks at home. Father Li Mingxuan's main pet is a red dragon, and this dragon's food needs high-quality volcanic rocks. Although Dad's pet's daily meals and drinks are all done in the institute at the state's expense, there are still days of rest. So my mother, Mu Qingqing, always keeps some in her studio. Li Chenggen found a piece of red soil from the material box. This is high-quality volcanic rock collected from the Hongyan City volcano group. The fire energy contained in it is even richer than low-level fire crystals. When the little one wakes up at night, Li Chenggen adds this high-quality volcanic rock to the hot milk. The little guy narrowed his eyes happily. Mao Mao, how does the volcanic rock taste? Mao Mao is the baby name he and the little guy discussed. Originally, Li Chenggen wanted to call him Hongmao, but considering his unknown future, he chose a more affectionate name. Mao Mao's cheeks bulged and he chewed. Meow. Restaurant smell. There were a few black lines hanging from Li Chenggen's forehead. He found that Mao Mao liked to use the internet slang in his memory. It seems that the Li family's early childhood education needs to be arranged in time. By the time the little one finished his dinner, Li Chenggen's frozen dumplings were ready. Under Mao Mao's expectant eyes, he had no choice but to give up half of his dinner, and finally reluctantly cooked another pack of instant noodles. Li's parents are very busy on weekdays, one is busy with experimental projects and the other is busy with business. Li Chenggen spends most of his time alone, so he learned to prepare breakfast and dinner by himself at a very young age. Now he is eating instant noodles, with a Mao Mao soaked in pork and cabbage dumplings on the side, as if this home has a touch of warmth. That's good too. After dinner, Li Chenggen had Mao Mao lying on his head. The little guy originally stayed on his shoulders, but then it came to his forehead, and he suddenly felt that he had found the best place. So I just like to lie here and not move. Li Chenggen had no choice but to let it go. He took a few Kongming stones from his father's office and returned to his room to prepare. The Kongming stone is a kind of ore that contains weak space energy, and is used by beast control masters to open up the beast control space. Yes, it is the bad beast controlling space in the novel that is a must-have for beast masters in previous lives. On Blue Star, the beast control space is not something that can be easily opened up. It requires a lot of tedious processes to successfully open up. If you use brute force to open up and take the route of flying bricks with great force, then it's great. More than 80% of the serious injury rate is waiting for you. There is also a probability of lifelong disability of more than 40%. Therefore, every beast master needs a lot of study and a lot of knowledge. The purpose is to allow every beast master to take every step well in every process of progress. Don't lose your life in vain. The set of development methods learned by Li Chenggen is the 6th edition revised by Dongguang Kingdom. The success rate of initial development is as high as 76%. Behind the high success rate is the experience gained by countless beast masters with their future. It is a very common secret technique in Dongguang Kingdom, but in other countries it is an extremely precious thing. Thank you all sages. Li Chenggen muttered silently and began to prepare the preparations needed to open up the beast control space. Quiet space, Kongming stone, energy diversion formation and the smooth third set of national broadcast gymnastics. That's right, radio gymnastics. The broadcast gymnastics of this world are to help the Beast Master activate the mental power of the Beast Master, so that he can be more meticulous when opening up the Beast Master's space. Reduces the likelihood of failure. The basic energy diversion array costs 10 yuan each. The one Li Chenggen is holding is the Supreme Deluxe Plus version, which is controllable in 3 gears. The discount price is 9,996 Dongwon coins. The life energy guided is more and more stable. Xiao Chenggen originally bought it with his pocket money, just for this moment. After Li Chenggen was ready, he came to his backyard and activated the yard's protective formation. This formation is a must-have for every house in the Institute's family area for safety. Set up the energy diversion array disk in the yard. Li Chenggen started the first stage of the formation and smoothly completed a set of national primary and secondary school students' radio gymnastics in the formation center. After the mental power in the brain space became active, he turned on the second gear of the formation and asked Mao Mao to look outside the formation. Li Chenggen used the basic meditation methods and basic guidance techniques taught in the school, and invisible energy threads slowly gathered around him. Start opening up a space for beast control. A large amount of life energy was drawn from the void into Li Chenggen's body by the formation. Along the meridians all over his body, it gradually gathered at the center of his eyebrows. When the life energy gathered into a small sun, Li Chenggen's eyebrows trembled. It's time to absorb space energy. The mental power in the brain space pulled several Kongming stones placed on his thighs. The silver-gray energy collided with the crystal-white life energy. The irregular energy riot made Li Chenggen's temples sting, and he endured the pain to combine the two energies. After about 2.5 minutes, space energy and life energy initially reached integration. The light group mixed with silver light seemed to be gestating life, as if something was about to break out of the ground. It seems like it could be over at this point. But Li Chenggen knew that the hardest step had just begun. He needed to combine the soul contract with this fusion energy. In this way, the pet beast can be summoned anytime and anywhere using the formation, and the soul contract can also ensure that the pet beast is in the beast control space and will not be lost due to the existence of the void. Li Chenggen's mental power slowly dragged the star-carved contract formation and combined it with the fusion energy group. The moment the two came into contact, there was a bang. A white sun seemed to rise in Li Chenggen's brain space, like a cosmic explosion. A black singularity takes shape in the brain space. Get it under control. Li Chenggen gritted his teeth and used all his remaining mental power to control the expansion of the black singularity. In the end, the star-carving formation scattered a little bit of starlight, assisting his mental power to stabilize the singularity. Finally, Li Chenggen completely imprinted the star-carving formation on the fusion energy group. In an instant, the fusion energy group suddenly expanded, and the black singularity also continued to shrink. Between releasing and closing, an illusory space is formed. Not enough energy. Li Chenggen thought of such a thought in his mind, and the concentration of life energy around him suddenly increased to a higher level again. It turned out that Mao Mao, who was outside the formation, helped Li Chenggen activate the third gear of the formation. Nice. Mao Mao, well done. Li Chenggen greedily absorbs all the life energy and the space energy in the Kongming stone. Half an hour later, the illusory world took complete shape and turned into a radiant crystal ball, with the star-carved formation reflected on the ball. An energy with a strong sense of life slowly flows from the center of Li Chenggen's eyebrows to his whole body. The exclusive energy of the Beast Master, the magic power is born. The development of the beast control space is completed. Li Chenggen opened his eyes, his excitement was palpable. He finally became a level 1 Beast Master. Not those semi-finished products with the name of Beast Masters, but Beast Masters who truly have the space to master beasts. Mao Mao also let out a cry, turned into a red shadow, and slipped into the newly born beast controlling space. Li Chenggen was confused and froze on the spot. Isn't it true that only pet beasts can enter the Beast Master's space with the permission of the Master? Mao Mao, what's going on? Before he could react, Mao Mao went in with a squeak. Could it be? Li Chenggen thought of his talent, Heart of the Ancient Dragon, and he was 100% compatible with the Ancient Dragon. Coupled with the two-way influence of the soul contract, it means that Mao Mao is 100% compatible with him. Entering his beast-controlling space is like returning to your own home. Okay, that's it. Li Chenggen was helpless. What could he do? The contract was already in place, and it was impossible for him to terminate the contract. I can only pamper this little guy. After opening up the beast-controlling space, Li Chenggen still planned to call Mao Mao out. There is one more thing to do today, and that is to determine the effect of Mao Mao's skills. Before Li Chenggen could call out Mao Mao, his eyes became distorted. The scenery of the courtyard turned into a blood-red garden of thorns. Li Chenggen stretched out his hand out of nowhere, and a booklet printed with bloody thorn flowers appeared in his palm. The contract is done. The identity of the owner of the strange object, hunting notes, has been determined, and the qualifications for holding it are, temporary holder. The characteristics of the temporary holder are detected, and the hunting notes home page opens. The booklet printed with bloody thorn flowers automatically opened to the first page. The light yellow paper looks a bit old, and a heart pattern appears on the blank content. The first function, hunting instinct, is born. Temporary holders can hunt extraordinary creatures and have a probability of depriving them of their abilities or attributes to enhance themselves. As soon as the hunting instinct was born, Li Chenggen felt that the blood in his body was boiling, and something had penetrated deeply into his blood. But at this time, he was still in a state of ignorance and did not know himself. It is detected that the temporary holder possesses the power of disaster, which fully satisfies the desire for hunting notes, and the second page opens. Then the second page of the manual was slowly opened. The second page was different from the first page, only the pattern of a room appeared on the top. Most of the page is blank, only a small dark red shadow appears at the beginning. The second function, Thorn Collection Room, is activated, and the temporary holder's information on killing, plundering, or possessing extraordinary creatures can be stored in the collection room. Temporary holders can mobilize this information at will. Permission: 10 times per day. Then the scene of the bloody thorn garden disappeared in front of Li Chenggen, and he returned to the courtyard of his home again. What's wrong with me? Li Chenggen shook his head and suddenly saw the bloody thorn flower mark on the back of his left hand flashing past. Memories of being in the thorn garden came flooding back. He was sure that he was being targeted by something. The style of the hunting notebook was something that had been with Xiao Chenggen for many years. It was a street stall product that Xiao Chenggen bought in a night market when he was a child. Then he forgot where he put it and didn't look for it. It seems that it's not that it can't be found, but that it's within his body. Meow, Cheng'an, that thing is very bad. Mao Mao's reminder sounded in Li Chenggen's mind. Of course he knew that hunting notes were not a kind thing. Especially the words, satisfaction, and possessing the power of disaster, almost put the symbol of the extremely evil camp on the cover of the book. But he had signed a contract for this thing, and he felt that if he told others, his end would not be much better. Let's take a look at the situation first. Li Chenggen combed through the information brought to him by his hunting notes. After browsing through them, the corners of his mouth twitched several times. Fortunately, I didn't tell my parents about the existence of this thing. Before him, there were a total of 7 holders of the hunting notes, all of whom were holders, and 2 of them were holders because of leaks. There are 10 pages of hunting notes in total. If you unlock them all, you can become its true owner. It's a pity that the most awesome holder only unlocked 7 pages and died because he was involved in the Battle of Destruction. The hunting notes also contain many warnings left by previous owners. The most important thing is not to rely too much on the hunting notes. Don't let the hunting notes affect your emotions, and be sure to act according to your heart. Li Chenggen originally thought there was some deep meaning and twists and turns in the story. Until he sat on the grass and thought, and pulled up a white flower in the yard. Skill Stone, Fu Yin Technique +1, can be awarded to Li Chenggen, Mao Mao. Li Chenggen. White flower grass is an extraordinary plant. It has an extraordinary rank, but it has no lethality and is harmless to humans. It was originally an ornamental plant introduced from the wild to Hongyan City. But he didn't expect that Baoasao, who was bullied by other spiritual plants outside the city, became out of control as soon as he entered the city. It easily squeezes out the living space of ordinary plants and becomes a successful example of species invasion. Naturally, such invasive spiritual plants are prone to appear in the Li family's yard. So this scene happened. Is this what the emotional hunting instinct means, the ability to plunder extraordinary creatures? And the capabilities of hunting notes are limited. At least Mao Mao's real name has not been revealed. Only the name I gave it is displayed. Li Chenggen breathed a sigh of relief, and at the same time felt that this function was not very tempting. In Dongguan country, it is well known that skills differ not only by rank, but also by proficiency. The skill proficiency levels he knows are divided into contact level, mastery level, proficiency level, and perfection level. The gap between contact level skills and perfect level skills is wider than the gap between low-level skills and mid-level skills. Empty skills, no proficiency, that is the moon in the mirror. All the work in vain. Until he pulled out a few more white flowers, and the second page of his hunting notebook slowly opened. Ah, is the collection room responsible for adding more? I saw a small mark of a white flower appearing on the collection room on the second page of the hunting notebook. The mark shone with light and the entire mark was filled. Skill stone, hidden technique +1. Skill stone, hidden technique +1. Health +1. A dozen white flowers contributed to these 3 harvests. In terms of explosion rate, it was a little higher than the up pool of the card drawing game. The moment that bit of health entered Li Chenggen's body, the weakness he felt after opening up the beast controlling space tonight was made up for a lot. Miua volunteered to experience the first concealment technique. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be a precious chi gathering skill. After the other 2 skills were continuously delivered to Miua, according to the classification of human society, Miua's ambush technique has reached the master level. Only then did Li Chenggen understand the value of the words left by his predecessors. Which beast master can endure this? Wait, don't be tempted. Li Chenggen resisted the temptation that was spreading in his heart, as if there was a devil teasing in his ears. Use it quickly, use it quickly. Use it to reach the top of the world. It took Li Chenggen more than a quarter of an hour to suppress this temptation. He somewhat understood how those seniors were so bad. Once they fell into the trap of improving their abilities, they couldn't extricate themselves. Death is not far away. The holder will be constantly encouraged by the desires in his heart to take risks, hunt strong men, and obtain more attributes and stronger abilities. But I have done this kind of thing a lot, and I often walk by the river. How can I not get my shoes wet? They will always encounter a terrifying opponent who is beyond their capabilities, and then die. This is how the previous holders died. Li Chenggen lowered his eyes, struggling constantly in his eyes. Use it, fear of sinking. No need, I'm not willing to do it. Just then, Miua's clear voice sounded. Meow, what's wrong with you, Chang'an? Li Chenggen's whole body trembled, and the struggle immediately dissipated. His first words were, Miua, are you not affected? Miua tilted her head and said in confusion, meow meow. What's the impact? Li Chenggen blinked a few times, his eyes suddenly brightened. Yes, he is a beast master. He is not some ancient fantasy emperor who is both powerful and powerful, he is just a small beast master. Most of the strength lies in the pet beast. If you can't control yourself, you can transfer some of the pressure to your pet. Miua is an excellent candidate. What is stronger and what attributes? Ancient dragons are born to stand at the highest point and overlook all living beings. The so-called top of the world is within easy reach as long as people settle down and reach adulthood. If you work hard and break through, you can become a behemoth across the stars. They were born into the royal palace of ancient Rome. This temptation is not worth mentioning to them. Li Chenggen's eyes became brighter and brighter, and he seemed to have found the bug that caused the hunting notes to affect his mood. Just resonate with Miua's emotions. It happens that the Beast Master has an ability called Beast Master Resonance. The Beast Master can try to learn this skill when he breaks through to the intermediate level. Li Chenggen thinks it is feasible. Although he lacks strength, the basic conditions are up to standard. Beast Control Resonance is a technique used by mid-level beast control masters to increase their control of beasts. It requires the Beast Master to have enough magic power, mental power, and a high degree of intimacy with the pet beast. At least the pet beast is willing to open its soul to the Beast Master. And the magic power is not bad either. The amount of mantra power is related to the light in the beast controlling space. The larger the beast controlling space is, the more spell power it can hold. Li Chenggen's initial beast control space size is 500 cubic meters. He checked the information and found that the beast control space of most mid-level beast control masters was between 400 and 600 cubic meters. He met the conditions. In other words, as long as he fills this level of beast controlling space with magic power, he can try to resonate with Miua's beast controller. After all, the intimacy between him and Mao Mao is very high, and they are 100% compatible. Li Chang'an has lived in 2 lives. After awakening the memory of his past life, he felt that his spirit had grown a lot. Although he is not above the ceiling of low-level beast masters, he is still one of the best. Moreover, the proportion of mental power in the beast-controlling resonance is not too large. If mantra is the power source and intimacy is the power button, mental power is the software program. The amount of mental power is nothing more than a matter of how long the software can last. He just needs to clean up the negative emotions caused by the hunting notes now, and it won't take long. Now that the decision was made, Li Chang'an talked to Mao Mao about the reasons for the situation. Anyway, we are going to have a resonance with the beasts. Instead of hiding it, we might as well make it clear from the beginning. To avoid a rift between the two. After Mao Mao heard Li Chang'an's plan, she didn't complain at all. Instead, she seemed very interested in the impact of the hunting notes. Li Chang'an twitched the corner of his mouth. He was indeed of the Gulong lineage, and his interests were so unique. The resonance of the beast control is very simple. Both parties open their souls and the beast control master uses the magic power to increase it. It's that simple. The difficult part is the step of opening the souls of both parties without defense. The rest of the steps can be easily done by a trainee beast master. Due to the talent of the heart of the ancient dragon, Li Chang'an and Mao Mao are very close and can easily reach a resonance with the beast. Then Li Chang'an and Mao Mao started their initial attempts, and they chose to use their skills to run in first. Under the guidance of Li Chang'an, Mao Mao gradually completed the intermediate skill, Fire Spirit Coil. Fire Spirit Coil is a skill that uses energy to transform into entities, thereby enhancing physical fitness. The reason why he chose this is because Mao Mao noticed the worries in Li Chang'an's heart through the soul contract. The leakage of Ji Yulong's identity will put them both in a very dangerous situation, so hiding their identities is a very important thing. The forward use of Flame Spirit Coil is to convert energy into entities, while the reverse use can achieve the effect of converting entities into energy. The reason why it can be used in reverse is because the Hell Flame Dragon is originally the emperor who suppresses flames, and partial body elementalization is just a basic skill for it. After Li Chang'an and Mao Mao worked together for a long time, the pair of redwood dragon horns on its head turned into 2 dark red hairs hidden in the red mane on its head. A pair of dragon wings turned into a pair of golden patterns embedded in the scales on the body. The scales on the dragon's tail completely turned into red hair. Only the dragon scales on the torso still show the identity of the dragon species. Coupled with the newly acquired Qi condensing skill, Fu Yin technique. You are now like a red-maned lion who has just awakened to the dragon bloodline. Li Chang'an chuckled. Mao Mao didn't care, it just wanted Li Chang'an's approval. The comments of others are not as important to it as the harassment of magma dragon flies. Li Chang'an asked Mao Mao to try Hell Flame and Flame Claw again. Hell Flame is a dark red flame that is unique to Hell Flame Dragon. The level will increase as the strength of the Hell Flame Dragon increases. It is now a low-level skill. When Mao Mao reaches the elite level, it will become a mid-level skill. The same will apply in the future. The most important thing is that after skill advancement, skill proficiency only drops by 1 level. It can be said that it is quite humane, and it can be regarded as a manifestation of the talent and willfulness of the Hell Flame Dragon clan. Fire Claw is the Hellfire Dragon version of the Flame Claw, except that the flames wrapped around it are more destructive hellfire. Not worth mentioning. He, no. Mao Mao, are you ready? Meow, ready. Mao Mao came out of the beast controlling space and stood face to face with Li Chang'an. Okay, beast control resonance. As soon as he finished speaking, dark red flames appeared on Li Chang'an's body, and the red hair on Mao Mao's body was also like flames. Exuding hot temperature, it drifts in the wind. In just a moment, Li Chang'an interrupted the resonance of the beast. It's not that he doesn't have enough mental power, or that he doesn't have enough magic power, it's just that his body can't bear it. His state just now was like driving a sports car for the first time. He didn't know how powerful his horsepower was, and then he stepped on the accelerator to the bottom. The starting speed was fast, but the car was falling apart. Because he and Mao Mao are connected, his power can be easily borne by Mao Mao, but the power coming from Mao Mao is too much for him. Just after the compatibility of the beast-controlling resonance suddenly exceeded 50%, he felt like he was on the verge of death, so he immediately cancelled the beast-controlling resonance. All the distracting thoughts in Li Chang'an's heart disappeared, replaced by the panic that almost made him burst. But this stuck bug method works. In order to verify the sustainability of this bug, Li Chang'an didn't sleep this Saturday night. Relying on Mau Mau's night vision, he pulled out all the white flowers and grass on the green belt and lawn of most of the community. Relying on the shallow beast control resonance, Mau Mau has just learned the concealment technique to the perfect level. Mau Mau, who possesses the perfect hidden technique, is completely like a red-maned lion awakened by dragon blood, temporarily lacking the soul-stirring majesty of an ancient dragon. According to Mau Mau's own perception, its current aura is in the category of a hybrid dragon. Although Li Chang'an stayed up all night, his body was not very tired. Although the health gained last night was not much, it still expanded his physical limit. Until 6 o'clock in the morning, he was still in high spirits. For tomorrow's exam, while sorting out Xiao Chang'an's memories, Li Chang'an made a vegetable salad for Mau Mau. This salad is the pet food preparation that will be done on the practical exam. Under Li Chang'an's expectant gaze, Mau Mau swallowed the woody vegetable salad with difficulty. Mau Mau, although I eat some plants such as fireweed and flame flowers, I don't eat an all-wood vegetable meal. Fortunately, Li Chang'an later gave Mau Mau 3 portions of hot milk and high-quality volcanic rocks, and then the little kitten rolled onto the bed and fell asleep. On this day, Li Chang'an took a nap for a while and then did not rest again. He was planning to make dinner in the evening when he heard the sound of the door lock opening at home. Button, button, button. Li Chang'an heard the familiar sound of high heels and the sound of people changing shoes in the entrance hall. Mom, are you back? Xiaoan, have you eaten? A gentle voice came from the entrance. Not yet, I'm planning to do it. Hey, let me see my son's craftsmanship. Mau Mau squatted on the dining table and looked curiously toward the entrance. Is this Chang'an's mother? So awesome. As an ancient dragon, Mau Mau was keenly aware of the hidden power of that mysterious woman. Li Chang'an explained to Mau Mau through the soul contract, my parents are both king-level beast masters, which corresponds to king-level pet beasts. Mau Mau suddenly realized that this was the first time he knew about Li Chang'an's parents. Although the king level is nothing to it, from the perspective of human cognition, it is already very powerful. According to the knowledge that Mau Mau gained from Li Chang'an, the levels of human beastmasters from low to high are: low-level beastmaster, level 1 to 3; intermediate beastmaster, level 4 to 6; high-level beastmaster, level 7 to 9; and king-level legendary beastmaster. Li Chang'an didn't know the higher levels, but Mau Mau knew the levels of monsters above the king level. Wow, what a cute kitten. A woman in a red dress wanted to pick up Mau Mau, but Mau Mau nimbly dodged it. Mau Mau jumped up to the top of the nearby shelf and looked down at this elegant-looking woman. Meow, meow, even if you are Chang'an's mother, I won't let you touch her. Only Chang'an can hug me. Li Chang'an put down the kitchen knife for chopping vegetables, walked out of the kitchen, and said helplessly, Mom, stop playing, come here and help. The elegant woman was a little disappointed, but she still put on an apron and walked into the kitchen. This young and beautiful woman is Li Chang'an's mother, Miu Qingqing. He runs a high-end tea house and tea shop. Due to his status as a king-level beast master and convenience, the tea house run by Miu Qingqing has always been in a leading position in Hongyan City. Because of this, like his father Li Mingshuan, he was busy with work and had little time to spend with little Chang'an. Li Chang'an did not complain about his parents like his predecessor. As a person who has experienced this, he is deeply aware that there are many things in this world that are difficult to have both ways. Although Miu Qingqing is nearly 40 years old, time has still not left any trace on her face. When facing Li Chang'an, the only son, he occasionally reveals his little devil character in his youth. Era, Xiaoan, was that little kitten outside brought home by you? I remember our family doesn't allow it to run away. Miu Qingqing's narrowed eyes were like a 1,000-year-old female fox looking at something she was interested in. Li Chang'an was very calm. He knew that once he showed embarrassment or timidity, Miu Qingqing would make fun of him even harder. Well, Miu Qingqing has been like this since Xiao Chang'an can remember. He said calmly, Mau Mau's birth was just an accident. Hatched from the dead egg you bought. What a miracle. Miu Qingqing cut the vegetables again and again, with a smile on her lips, and Xiaoan, why did you even complete the contract and the beast control space? Li Chenggen evenly arranged the sliced cabbage and meat slices on the casserole, placed small pieces of tofu and mushrooms, and a few prepared shrimps. Pour the sauce prepared in advance, cover the pot, and simmer over high heat for half an hour. He explained. I can't let a dragon that inherits the blood of an ancient dragon roam around my house, can I? This time it was Miu Qingqing's turn to be uneasy. Ancient dragon bloodline, could other Warcraft inherit this thing? Wait, I seem to have heard my husband say that there are indeed some lucky people who can inherit some rare ancient dragon blood. But these lucky ones are even smaller than the number of ancient dragons themselves. This silly boy of mine could actually meet one. Miu Qingqing controlled the surprise on her face and asked casually, which ancient dragon's bloodline is it? Who else could it be? The Hell Flame Dragon. Miu Qingqing lengthened her voice and said, oh. Li Chenggen couldn't stand the atmosphere and said to Miu Qingqing, Ms. Miu, did Comrade Li Mingshuan tell you that you are very poor at pretending? Miu Qingqing burst out laughing, but then she still held back her laughter and pretended to reminisce and said, probably not since I met him. Li Chenggen was speechless and choked, my husband is weak. Isn't that right? Your father has learned the 3 obediences and the 4 virtues very well. I am very pleased. Li Chenggen. After the mother and son had a bit of a fight, they squatted down and ate cabbage stewed with tofu and a pot of boiled meat slices. Boiled pork slices are a dish made by Miu Qingqing. This lady who has lived for 500 years has no worries about acne on her face. When Mao Mao saw the food was ready, she jumped down from the top of the locker. He ran to Li Chenggen's lap and looked at the pot of hot boiled pork slices with gleaming eyes. It pointed with its little paw and said, meow. I want that in Chang'an. Ms. Miu Qingqing proudly put her hands on her hips and said, Mao Mao, you are very knowledgeable. You can tell at a glance that I made it. She already knew in the kitchen that Li Chenggen had given Mao Mao a name, and she was very curious about this kitten. That's why I made the second dish into boiled pork slices, and also added the spiritual vegetable supplement of flame pepper. It's definitely not that she is greedy and wants to eat something spicy. Li Chenggen didn't intend to pay attention to his demonic mother. He took out a few slices of meat and bean sprouts and put them on the small plate prepared for Mao Mao. Remember to eat the bean sprouts. Mao Mao was a little disgusted, but as he ate the bean sprouts, a surge of heat came from the bean sprouts. The little guy couldn't bear it anymore and started to feast. Li Chenggen had an expression in his eyes as he carefully picked up the cabbage and tofu he had made. Miu Qingqing also looked regretful. The child was older and it was difficult to lie to him. When he was a child, Xiaoan would run over and take a bite of the chopsticks. Then I was so hot that I burst into tears. Li Chenggen's peripheral vision caught the expression on Miu Qingqing's face, and the corners of his mouth twitched slightly. How old are you? So childish. This pot of boiled meat slices was solved by Miu Qingqing and Mao Mao. After washing the dishes, Miu Qingqing called Li Chenggen to her studio. The first thing Li Chenggen said was, pure fragrant milk and high-quality volcanic rocks are for Mao Mao. Miu Qingqing waved her hands and said, I'm not here to argue with you. She stared at Li Chenggen closely, as if suppressing something, and asked, Xiaoan, have you awakened your talent? Li Chenggen nodded in disbelief. He had awakened twice. Miu Qingqing had a sad look on her face and hugged Li Chenggen into her arms. Choking up sobs, she said, I'm sorry, Xiaoan, your dad and I are usually too busy, so we let you face this kind of thing alone. Li Chenggen was a little confused at first, wondering why his mother's mood changed so quickly. But a memory of Xiao Chenggen reminded him of a lesson about talent awakening. It was mentioned in this class that the independent awakening of talent is not uncommon in today's Dongguang kingdom. But when they awaken on their own, the feeling of life being worse than death makes most children who awaken on their own choose to commit suicide. Therefore, there are fewer examples of surviving and maintaining an optimistic character after autonomous awakening than winning the lottery. Generally, the awakened talents of this kind of people are very powerful, and they can be regarded as one drink and one peck. He understood how Miu Qingqing was feeling at this moment. It was such a painful feeling for a mother to know that her child had experienced life and death without her knowledge. Sorry. Miu Qingqing burst into tears, and Li Chang'an had no choice but to put his hands around her waist and pat her back with his hands. The child who most wanted to hear these words was no longer there, and his memory was that of an adult. Although the independent awakening of his talent is uncomfortable, it will not make him collapse. Anyway, he has also experienced death, so he can be regarded as a professional counterpart. After Miu Qingqing's mood stabilized, Li Chang'an asked, "Mom, how did you know that my talent has awakened?" Miu Qingqing hugged Li Chang'an tightly and refused to let go. After a while, she said, "You used to cut potatoes very slowly, but today you cut the meat slices very quickly and thinly, more efficiently than the chef in the restaurant. What else can it be besides talent?" Li Chang'an raised his eyebrows. He was exposed here, he really couldn't underestimate others. At a glance, Li Chang'an's remaining pride as a reincarnated person completely disappeared. Miu Qingqing asked, "Xiaoan, what is your talent?" "Ingenious mind, improve hand dexterity." Miu Qingqing's mood completely stabilized, and she began to display her knowledge and vision as a king-level beast master. "Do you have any understanding of the operating mechanism of talent? For example, when chopping vegetables, do you feel that you can cut vegetables well before you hold the knife, or do your palms become more flexible after holding the knife for a while?" Li Chang'an grasped the key point. What my mother wants to ask is whether manual dexterity leads to spirituality, or does spirituality come first and then manual dexterity? The order before and after is very important. The former is just an ordinary strengthening talent, but the latter is a mysterious talent involving the spiritual realm. Li Chang'an recalled the feeling of cooking. Although he had cooking experience in his previous life, he had a feeling that it was just like this after holding the kitchen knife. "It seems that I have complete control over cutting vegetables, and my mastery is getting higher and higher as I continue to cut vegetables. Just like Mao Mao training her skills. Exercise skills. Skill proficiency." Li Chang'an reacted immediately. He didn't expect that this seemingly ordinary talent could bring him such a big surprise. Miu Qingqing saw Li Chang'an's surprised eyes and knew that her child had grasped the key point. "It seems that you have understood what I mean, Xiaoan. This is the initial development and expansion of talent. It is a required course in Beast Control University. Even the simplest physical enhancement, there are thousands of documents in universities to understand it, let alone your talent for successful independent awakening." Li Chang'an sighed in his heart. Sure enough, he couldn't use his experience of reading novels in his previous life to measure the professional level of the beast master who had studied for hundreds of years at this time. Thinking of this, Li Chang'an became even more humble. He explained to Miu Qingqing about his talent and dexterity. "Xiaoan, your talent is much more powerful than I imagined. It is not a relationship between before and after, nor a causal relationship, but symbiosis. Because holding the knife in the hand stimulates the power of the mind, and the existence of the power of the mind allows the hand to hold the knife better. The two promote each other, achieving an effect similar to accelerating thinking." The more Miu Qingqing spoke, the more excited her tone became. She could already imagine how brilliant her children would be in the future. Li Chang'an also kept Miu Qingqing's words in mind. These were the mottos of a king-level beast master, and he couldn't buy them even if he wanted to. "But I heard Miu Qingqing ask, I can think of two paths that are more suitable for you now. One is the mediator, the other is the hunter. Which one do you want to choose, Xiaoan?" Blender, hunter. Li Chang'an thought of the introduction of these two professions. Blender is a profession that blends extraordinary materials. Some focus on potions, some focus on weapons and ammunition, and some focus on cooking spiritual food. It is a profession whose goal is to harmonize all things. The hunter was the most glorious profession in the previous era, and its status was equivalent to that of the current beast master. Collect great power in yourself, and your skills can reach the gods. Nowadays, a considerable part of the territory of Dongguang Kingdom was captured by hunters. It can be said that without hunters, there would be no stable life for the people of Dongguang Kingdom today. Since Miu Qingqing is also a master of cooking spiritual food, Li Chang'an is quite familiar with the blender. On the contrary, he is a famous hunter. Apart from the introduction in the book, he knows nothing about the rest. "Mom, can you tell me what kind of path a hunter takes?" Seeing Li Chang'an's cautious but expectant look, Miu Qingqing's depressed mood improved a little. The development of the hunter profession is no longer what it was 100 years ago, so the things you are worried about, Shaoan, have probably been eliminated by hunters long ago. Nowadays, hunters allow pets to assist. Not only are they allowed, hunters have also developed many techniques for attacking with pets. It can be said that hunters in the new era are more open-minded and more powerful than you think. What you have to worry about is not the old customs of old sesame seeds but rotten millet, but the assessment of the Hunter Guild. Miu Qingqing's narrow eyebrows raised slightly. The Hunters Guild is not as easy to talk to as the Beast Mastering Association. Their assessment is very strict. Not only does the pet's strength have to pass the test, but one's own skills must also be proficient. Li Chang'an realized, this is the Beast Master version of Special Forces. Extreme Individual Soldier Blue Star Special Edition. If it is true as Miu Qingqing said, then joining the Hunter Guild is indeed not an easy task. Li Chang'an said seriously to Miu Qingqing, "Mom, I want them all." Children make choices, adults want them all. Miu Qingqing. Of course, real things cannot be decided by Li Chang'an just by saying, "I want them all." Miu Qingqing gave on-site teaching and taught Li Chang'an a new low-level fire-based spiritual food, fire bud milk soup. Although this spiritual food is of low-level quality, the production process is not any simpler than some mid-level spiritual food. The main reason is to see where the upper limit of Li Chang'an's talent is. Then Miu Qingqing's expression rapidly changed from frowning, seriousness, shock, disbelief, and numbness within 2 hours. Li Chang'an wiped the sweat from his forehead. Mao Mao lying on the dining table already looked stretched. "Mao Mao, help me up, I can still eat." In these 2 hours, he made 8 portions of fire sprout milk soup. From stumbling at the beginning to becoming familiar with the road later. In the end, the double boiler operation was used, and 2 portions of high-quality fire sprout milk soup were made at one time. Miu Qingqing truly recognized her son's abnormal talent. This is no longer an acceleration of thinking, but an epiphany, the unity of heaven and man. The first time it was still in the category of accelerated thinking, but in the second time, Miu Qingqing actually saw the spark of enlightenment in a 16-year-old child. The third and fourth time, the harmonious feeling of becoming one with the pots and pans reminded her that this was the state of harmony between man and nature that the blender dreamed of. It seems that it is necessary to discuss the child's future with Lao Li. Miu Qingqing covered her darkened eyes and asked Li Chang'an to go back and have a good rest to prepare for tomorrow's exam. The next day, Miu Qingqing did not continue to teach Li Chang'an anything. These 2 days are the final exams for high school, which are very important for children's future, so we should focus on academics first. There will be plenty of time to discuss the future path. The questions require you to read them carefully, don't be too quick, check them over again after you finish them, and be careful. Like most parents, after Miu Qingqing sent Li Chang'an to school, she told him the same thing several times before leaving. If someone hadn't taken him away, Li Chang'an would still be nagging Ms. Miu Qingqing. This great benevolent person is a girl, wearing a white summer shirt and a yellow and black plaid skirt on her lower body. The girl's legs were wrapped in a layer of white knee-high socks, with a slight pink color showing through the knees. The knee-high socks made a wonderful indentation on her thighs. It complements the porcelain smooth skin above. This girl's name is Wen Miaohua, and she is Li Chang'an's only childhood sweetheart. Li Chang'an is also her only sweetheart. The two have known each other since their mother's womb. Wen Miaohua's mother Tang Xinyao was the college best friend of Li Chang'an's mother Miu Qingqing. Therefore, the two families are closely connected. In fact, there were many people who were in the same class with Wen Miaohua in the past, but only Li Chang'an was close to Wen Miaohua. Not only because of the relationship between the two families, but also because Li Chang'an is the only person who does not dislike Wen Miaohua. Because Wen Miaohua is a beautiful iceberg girl, in a physical sense. Meow, meow, oh, Chang'an, there is a good guy inside this person. Li Chang'an used to think that Wen Miaohua had awakened some bloodline or talent, but now it seemed that he had inherited a troublesome pet ability. The so-called inheritance of pet beast abilities means that every new beast master may obtain a skill or talent of a pet beast after contracting an initial pet beast. Researchers from the Dongguang Kingdom discovered that if a beastmaster contracts a pet before it reaches its awakening stage, it will 100% inherit an ability of the pet when the beast breaks through to its awakening stage. Therefore, during summer vacation, the prices of some popular pet eggs will become quite high. You feel a little different today. Wen Miaohua stared at Li Chenggen with her clean eyes, and the words she spat out were like clear springs flowing from the mountains, crisp and long. Li Chenggen saw a trace of curiosity in Wen Miaohua's eyes, which was an impression that little Chenggen had not remembered. In Xiao Chenggen's memory, Wen Miaohua was cold and depressing. Only sweet cakes could make her look strange. I just made a contract with the initial pet beast. Li Chenggen thought of the unknown attributes on the panel and hesitated. It should be fire. Should. Although Wen Miaohua grasped the key point, she did not delve into it. She did not want to lose the only peer who could be by her side. So I responded with one word. Oh. Li Chenggen looked at the girl in front of him who looked like a snow lotus from the Tianshan Mountains in amazement. It seemed that he could not fully believe in Xiao Chenggen's memory. Just like Wen Miaohua, in his perception, this girl's emotions are delicate and humble. This delicacy is hidden under those clear spring-like eyes, without a trace of fireworks. This humility was concealed by the cold aura all over his body, so low that it was almost invisible. Li Chenggen subconsciously took out an orange-flavored candy, just as he was wondering when this candy was in his school uniform. Wen Miaohua's cool little hands had already taken the orange candy from his hand, and skillfully tore open the candy wrapper. The candy raised a dot on her delicate face. Then the girl squinted her eyes, tasting the sweet taste like a hamster. Li Chenggen could clearly sense the girl's happy emotions. Although it was very vague, he could still sense it after initially receiving the psychic talent. When we came to the classroom, there was still some noise, but the moment Wen Miaohua walked in, it died down. All the students consciously started to pack up the stationery for the exam, and then walked out of the classroom. Li Chenggen touched Wen Miaohua's jet black hair at the right time. This ability had both air conditioning and coercion. It was indeed too early for a group of underage high school students. Let's go and get things ready. I took a look and we should be in the same examination room. The darkness in the depths of Wen Miaohua's eyes was filled by Li Chenggen's smile. She didn't know why this childhood sweetheart had changed so much. The girl lowered her head, and the corners of her mouth unconsciously raised a cold arc. But very warm. This scene was seen by the students who had not left the classroom, and everyone had the same idea. The tyrant Li Dashui is a real man. In the morning, there were two subjects, Chinese and mathematics, which were not difficult for Li Chenggen. Xiao Chenggen's memory has helped him solve most of his academic problems. After lunch, Li Chenggen and Wen Miaohua came to the cafeteria and found a quiet and remote corner to sit down and eat. Li Chenggen, who had just become a level 1 beast master, had clear ears and eyesight, and he could hear the conversations of these energetic high school students as soon as he moved his ears. Hey, did you know that squad leader Wen had his head touched this morning? Which monitor? That iceberg in class 3, sophomore year. Oh, so it's her. What kind of heroic feat is this? Who else can it be? Li Chenggen. That Li Chenggen who covered the sky with Wen Miaohua in the second year of high school. Yes, that's him. Your sophomore year of high school was really dark. Who among you in this year's grade has a score higher than the two of them? The boy with short hair and glasses proudly replied, no. Everyone fainted. Li Chenggen noticed that Wen Miaohua's ears were slightly red, pink. Sometimes having too good hearing is not a good thing. Meow, Cheng'an, I want to eat too. Only then did Li Chenggen realize that he was no longer single, but had a family. Oh, I'll prepare it for you immediately. Li Chenggen took out a thermos box from his school bag and placed it on the side. It contained a large portion of fire sprout milk soup. Miu Qingqing did it when she got up in the morning. The contract formation flashed under Li Chenggen's feet, and a kitten covered in dragon scales appeared in his arms. He waited and felt. Mao Mao's weight was at least 3 times heavier than when he was born. At a young age, he has quite a lot of talents. The scene of Li Chenggen summoning his pet beast was seen by many people and caused a lot of noise. A girl who just passed by Li Chenggen's table shook subconsciously and ran away quickly. I'll go, it's a fire beast. The beasts contracted by the new beast masters of Dongguang Kingdom are not like those in the TV series. The first one they contract is a cool initial pet beast such as thunder, fire, and ice. Then reach the peak of life. When choosing a pet beast, a beast master in this world must consider not only compatibility and intimacy, but also the impact of the pet beast itself. For example, if a fire-chasing dog with a flaming tail flicks its tail inadvertently, it may burn the animal master or ignite objects in the home, causing a fire. The flame chaser dog is quite gentle, but many fire-type pets have bad tempers and attack at every turn, causing many injuries. Another example is when facing thunder beasts, you need to pay attention to the problem of electric shock. There is also the problem of poisoning of poisonous beasts. If the beast master is not careful, he may end up in the hospital or die suddenly on the spot. Not to mention other pet beasts with special attributes. The characters of light and dark pet beasts are not only weirder, but also bring higher risks. Things that require attention such as the soul system, death system, life system, and dragon beasts are not something that these underage high school students can deal with. After all, if you want to increase intimacy with a pet beast, you can't wear an insulating suit to approach a thunder beast. You have to touch the poisonous pet beast without gloves, etc. Therefore, most new beast masters, when choosing their initial pet beasts, will choose water, wood and earth pet beasts with more docile personalities. It is safer and less difficult to cultivate. Anyway, when you get stronger, you can contract pet beasts with powerful attributes in the future, so there is no rush. When Miua stared curiously at the red cat sitting quietly in Li Chenggen's hands. It seems to listen to you. It doesn't look like a fire pet at all. Li Chenggen smiled and said, Mau is indeed very good, but only in my hands. When Miua nodded with great approval. The one in my family also has the same temper. Although when Miua coveted Mau's furry head, she also clearly realized that this was impossible. After all, she still refuses to let her mother and the others touch her lazy worm that sleeps every day. The way Mau eats obediently attracts the attention of many high school students in adolescence. Girls are obsessed with the cuteness of Mau, while boys care about Mau's fire attributes. But no one dared to step forward to observe. When Miua is still here. After eating and drinking, Mau obediently returned to the beast-controlling space. This time, more students also saw the scene of Li Chenggen's contract formation unfolding, and some showed bitter smiles, or looked forward to it with longing. But in general, they have distanced themselves too far from the male and female evil spirits in Hongyan number 1 middle school. Not only academic performance, but also achievements in the field of beast master. Constructing a soul contract and opening up a beast-taming space are all obstacles that stand in the way of the beast-taming master's door. Without any one of them, it is not considered a true beast master. Li Chenggen invisibly filled a large cup, although he didn't notice it himself. Because in his opinion, it is not too difficult to construct a contract and open up space, and it does not cause any obstacles to him. Instead, the sudden appearance of the hunting notes, the sinful temptation that penetrated deep into his soul, made him fearful for several days. The high school students watched the male and female evil spirits leave, and the food in their mouths tasted like wax. It is said that during the geography and bestiality exams in the afternoon, many students came out crying and their mentality was so bad. Part of the reason is that this year's animal language is a bit difficult. Of course this has nothing to do with Li Chenggen, Mau is also part of his strength. The first day of the final exam ended like this. After Li Chenggen returned home, Mu Qingqing cooked a big meal to reward her son. Your father will be back the day after tomorrow. We will discuss your matters then. Li Chenggen nodded to indicate that he understood. Mu Qingqing didn't teach him anything new today. So he went to the kitchen to review the preparation of pet food for tomorrow's test. In the final practical exam of the second year of high school, each student makes a basic pet food and is graded according to the final quality and effect. The students of Hongyan number 1 middle school decided on the direction for the sophomore exam during their summer internship in their freshman year of high school. Everyone will then decide which attribute of the basic pet food to make. This choice is very important, because after passing the test, the people from the Hongyan Ecological Research Institute will arrange for the students to choose which attribute pet according to the attributes of the food they make. If you choose to make water-based food, choose the initial water-based pet beast. At this time, some people will say that what if a student awakens the talent of the fire element during the awakening ceremony in the first semester of high school, and the initial pet beast selected as the water element? The answer given in Xiao Chenggen's memory is, don't care at all. Because the Beast Master chooses the initial pet beast not for its powerful attributes, but for which practical abilities he can inherit from the initial pet beast. After all, before the king-level Beastmaster, only the initial pet beast could provide 100% ability inheritance. Therefore, those awakening pet beasts with a single practical skill and good racial talents have become hot commodities. For example, the water-type bubble turtle will most likely only have one skill during its awakening period, clear water healing. It has 2 racial talents, water therapy with the highest probability of appearing, or turtle breath with a very small probability of appearing. The hydrotherapy talent is in a water attribute environment and can provide continuous healing effects. The turtle breath talent is even more outrageous. The effect of this talent is to reduce the passage of lifespan. In short, it has a life-extending effect, which can probably extend your life by 100 to 150 years. Therefore, the price of bubble turtles is several times more expensive than some dragon pet beast eggs. There are many examples such as bubble turtles. Many new beast masters with strong backgrounds do not go for powerful initial beasts, but for abilities that are not good on pet beasts but shine on humans. Nowadays, it is commonplace that a beast master with a talent in the fire element would choose the water element as his initial pet. Xiao Chenggen originally planned this. He planned to contract a wood pet beast, preferably a wood pet beast with the talent of plant affinity. Unfortunately, this vision cannot be realized. Li Chenggen chose Mao Mao as his initial pet beast. The power of the ancient dragon is enough to overwhelm all powerful abilities. Not to mention, what if he inherited an ability unique to ancient dragons? In short, there are many benefits. However, Li Chenggen still became interested in the pet animals provided by the Institute of Ecology. As the only son of the deputy director of the Institute of Ecology, he naturally knows how unique the pet beasts inside are. Even if you can't inherit the ability, contracting a wood-type pet beast that can heal is still very good. The comprehensive biology exam ended on Tuesday morning, and it was time for the pet food preparation exam in the afternoon. The sophomore students gathered at the entrance of the gymnasium and entered in batches to take exams. The playground is occupied by senior high school students, and today is also the day for their practical exam simulation. In a few days, they will take the college entrance examination. For students who take the path of Beast Masters, the practical examination is the top priority. Li Chenggen was the 3rd batch of students to enter the examination room, and Wen Miaohua was lucky enough to be among the first batch. By the time the girl came out, Li Chenggen had already entered the gymnasium to take the exam. After the 2nd batch of students finished their exams, he came to the position marked for him to draw lots. The basic pet food preparation exam is about to begin. Dear candidates, after the teacher in front finished explaining the exam precautions for more than 10 minutes, when the exam bell rang, everyone, including Li Chenggen, started working intensively. Li Chenggen had 3 ingredients for fresh salad in front of him, and so did everyone else, all with 3 ingredients. This means that everyone only has 3 chances. 20 points are awarded for successful preparation once, and 60 passing points can be obtained by making 3 portions of food. The cooked food will then be sent to a testing instrument, which will be scored based on the life energy, element content, material fusion and other factors in the food. Each piece of food also has 10 points for judging, for a total of 30 points. The last 10 points are based on how quickly the students make the food. You can get at least 5 points by making a meal in 10 minutes. Li Chenggen makes it very quickly. Others can make 1 meal in 10 minutes, but he can make 3 in 10 minutes. 3 fresh salads were made at the same time, which made the invigilator on patrol look stunned for a moment. Ah, is there still such an operation? The timepiece directly above the gymnasium was at 9 minutes and 10 seconds, and a crisp bell sounded in the quiet gymnasium. All productions for candidate number 33 have been completed. Li Chenggen pressed the bell in front of the workbench. After the invigilator confirmed that it was correct, he took away the 3 fresh salads. It is promptly sent to a testing instrument in front of the stage. Taking into account the freshness of the food, this is the only exam with on-site results. 9.6 points, 9.7 points, 9.7 points. The comprehensive production time is 9 points, and the final score of candidate number 33 is 98 points. The mechanical electronic sound reported Li Chenggen's results, which made all the students in the audience tremble. It was also the first time for several invigilators to see such high scores. At least in the past few years they have been teaching, Hongyan number 1 middle school has not achieved such high scores in the animal food preparation exam. One of the invigilators was a little confused. He asked his colleague beside him, "Old G, you are a history teacher. Have you ever received such a high score in this subject in our school?" The middle-aged bald teacher named Lao Ji thought for a while and said in a solemn voice, "No, the highest score for this subject since the school was founded was 96.8 points. The last score exceeding 95 points was 20 years ago." In other words, they witnessed history. Some students with sharp ears in the audience also heard the teacher's chat. They made a sudden movement in their hands and almost ruined a piece of food. Fortunately, they reacted in time and saved it. The gap between humans is sometimes even greater than the gap between humans and dogs. Many students who knew about it unanimously said silently in their hearts, Li Shenyubi. Chapter 11. After the 2-day final exam, Li Chenggen settled down to weeding in the community and occasionally practiced Mau Mau's skill fire spirit rapping in the yard. He has not yet obtained the Apprentice Beastmaster qualification certificate, and does not even have access to the most basic training ground, so he can only stay at home. Since it was summer vacation, Li Chenggen felt much more relaxed. Not only did he uproot the white flowers and grass in his own community, he also made a contribution to the community next door. Finally, when the sun was about to set, the mark of white flowers and grass on the thorn collection room lit up again. Sure enough, it takes 32 copies of the same skill stone to break through to the perfect level of proficiency. Li Chenggen's face was full of excitement. First, he determined the cost of proficiency breakthrough, but also determined that the upper limit of the skill was not the perfect level. Judging from the requirements for breaking through the concealment technique, a skill requires 2 copies of the same skill stone to break through from the contact level to the master level. It takes 4 copies from the master level to the proficiency level, 8 copies from the proficiency level to the mastery level, and 16 copies from the proficiency level to the perfect level. And now he has determined that 32 copies are needed to break through to the perfect level. Li Chenggen and Mau Mau looked at each other and entered the 10% beast control resonance state in tacit understanding. Following Li Chenggen's mental instructions, the white flower mark on the thorn collection room quickly darkened and turned gray. Tiny tornadoes rolled up around Mau Mau. Meow. Oh, this feeling is so comfortable, life energy is pouring in. Mau Mau's excited voice made Li Chenggen a little worried, fearing that the hunting notes would contaminate Mau Mau. But after the vision ended, Mau Mau looked okay and asked Li Chenggen what he had for dinner. Apparently Mau Mau's appetite is higher than hunting notes at the moment. Li Chenggen relaxed and immediately checked the fluffy panel through the soul contract. Name: Ryan Discatal Mau Mau. Race: Hellfire Dragon. Attributes: Level: Juvenile stage. Potential: Natural ability. Low-level skills: Hellfire contact level, Flame Claw contact level, Ambush domination level. Intermediate skill: Flame Spirit Coil master level. Status: a little hungry. Dominant level: above the perfection level is the dominance level. Li Chenggen immediately asked Mau Mau, "What's so special about the current concealment technique?" Mau Mau felt it for a while and said, "Meow. Yes, a big change." Immediately afterwards, the aura on Mau Mau's body floated back and forth 3 times between the pure blood dragon species, the sub-dragon species, and the mixed blood dragon species. At this time, a hint of understanding appeared in Li Chenggen's eyes, and the dominant level. So this is what domination means. Feel free to control the strength of your skills. For Li Chenggen and Mau Mau, this discovery is of great significance. A very simple truth. You can easily take a tone-deaf person and change it from unpleasant to not so pleasant. But it is extremely difficult for those singers who are proficient in music and can sing well to sing tone-deaf. Even if the final effect is achieved, it will be very awkward and lose the spirituality of a tone-deaf person. The effect of the dominance level is to turn a top student pet into a top student who can control points at will. Li Chenggen is very satisfied with this effect. In many battles, he needs to watch others take action. Facing pet beasts with ordinary births, the pressure of the hybrid dragon species is enough to deter them. But if it encounters a stronger pet beast, Miua can only release its original breath, and it is difficult to release a slightly weaker breath. It takes time to adjust, is very confusing in battle, and is very impractical. Now it's better, Miua can switch at will, and use whatever level of coercion he wants. No time adjustment is needed at all. During the battle, the enemy originally faced the pressure of the hybrid dragon species, but at the critical moment, it suddenly turned into the pressure of a higher-level sub-dragon species. Li Chang'an could recall the expression of constipation on the face of the opposite beastmaster or monster at that time. This is a skill that creates a sure win opportunity. Li Chang'an was very satisfied with today's harvest and plucked out a few remnants on the way back. Fortunately, I gained another hidden technique skill stone. Then Li Chang'an's relaxed steps suddenly paused. He looked up at the unpolluted starry sky of the blue planet. It turns out that there are levels beyond domination level proficiency. The mark of white flowers and grass on the thorn collection room glows with a faint light, which means there is still room for improvement. Li Chang'an clenched his fist. It seemed that I was destined to be the man who became the king of white flowers and grass in Hongyan City. Miua looked confused. Why did Chang'an's blood suddenly boil? Oh, I know, this is a common symptom called chunabu in human cubs. Miua suddenly realized when she heard Li Chang'an's solemn words. Miua, just now I felt that my pure personality was contaminated by the hunting notes, and I need to use the beast-controlling resonance to calm down. Miua, it seems not. After a shot of beast-controlling resonance, Li Chang'an felt refreshed and cancelled his plan to become the king of white flowers and grasses. Back home, Li Chang'an found a young man in the living room. A little less handsome than me, but also a little more mature. This man is Li Chang'an's father, who is the deputy director of the Hongyan City Ecological Research Institute. The Li family lives in Zhahai Jinliang, a frequent customer of the spiny crab washboard, and a loyal fan of Beiniao instant coffee. The angel investor of Tianshan sleeping bag, Li Mingxuan. Li Mingxuan drank the tea made by Mu Qingqing, and after Li Chang'an came in, his eyes were fixed on the Miua on Li Chang'an's head. This fiery gaze was like glue, and he refused to move away no matter what. Li Chang'an calmly put Miua into the beast-controlling space, without even looking at Li Mingxuan, and walked straight into the kitchen to help Mu Qingqing prepare food. Meow, Chang'an doesn't like your father. Li Chang'an communicated through his soul and said helplessly, he is most likely thinking about how to study this precious species like you. Miua lay down in the beast-controlling space, shrank her head, and said, meow. Well, I don't like him either. The atmosphere at the Li family's dinner this time was very dull. Due to Xiao Chang'an's memory, Li Chang'an did not have a good impression of Li Mingxuan, far less favorably than Mu Qingqing. Mu Qingqing was happy to watch the show, but she would not speak up for her husband, because it was indeed his fault. Li Mingxuan couldn't bear the silent atmosphere and said, I heard that your first pet animal is called Miua. Li Chang'an took a bite of the dish and responded calmly, yes. Do you have any skills? Li Chang'an scooped up a bowl of soup, drank it slowly, and took a breath. Those who didn't know this scene thought it was Li Mingxuan answering Li Chang'an's question. Then he said calmly, Hell Flame, Flame Claw, Flame Spirit Coil and a breath-condensing skill. So much. Li Mingxuan raised his eyebrows. The father and son had exactly the same reaction at certain times. Except for Hell Flame, the rest of the skills are not special. Flame Claw and Flame Spirit Coil are also on the skill list of other pet groups. Hell Flame. It is written in the information left by Hongyan City that this is a growth type skill that can be advanced to the top level skill according to the strength of the pet beast. It's very important for Miua to practice this skill well. Li Chang'an nodded slightly but had no other reaction. Li Mingxuan opened his mouth, holding back 1,000 words in his heart, and finally gave Li Chang'an a business card. I'm angry about the call from the director of the Hunters Union in Hongyan City. You can go directly to him when the time comes. Li Chang'an took the business card and said, so, you agree? A smile appeared on Li Mingxuan's face, you are willing to make progress and pursue better opportunities. I am not even happy enough. How could I disagree? Seeing that the atmosphere had eased, he asked again, a week later, are you still willing to go to the ecological park to pick up a second pet animal? Certainly. The second pet beast is not like the initial pet beast. It does not need to consider race and attributes. I saw that you chose the wood type. Do you have any wishes for the pet beast? Li Chang'an swallowed the food in his mouth and said solemnly, it is best to be a wood pet beast with healing skills. Li Mingxuan nodded with satisfaction, not because of Li Chang'an's choice, but because of Li Chang'an's serious attitude. Many beast masters have gone astray and only pursue pet beasts with high potential and strong bloodline. Little do they know that the bond between humans and pet animals is the strongest and most precious thing. How many geniuses suddenly realize it and regret it when they are about to break through to the king-level beast master? Li Chang'an has this attitude and he is very happy. I recently heard from Xiao Wang that there have been a lot fewer casualties in battles between pet beasts in the Wood System C area. After speaking, Li Mingxuan left the table. Li Chang'an pouted, he was still doing this at home. The results of the final exam will not be released until a week later. During this time, Li Chang'an worked hard to meditate and practice. The reason is that he hopes to be promoted to the level 2 Beast Master in a week. It's a pity that things like realm cannot be rushed, let alone that Li Chang'an has just become a Beast Master. Without the aid of medicine and Kongming Stone, the cultivation effect is not satisfactory. According to Li Chang'angu's estimation, with his talent, it would still take 3 months to fill 500 cubic meters of beast-controlling space with mantra. He was still in Mu Qingqing's studio and used a simple mental power tester to test his side. His current mental power was about 16 talisman. There is still a certain distance between the limit of 20 spells of spiritual power for a second-level beast master. This was due to his constant resonance with Mao Mao on how to control the beasts and indirectly exercising his mental power to achieve this increase. In terms of mantra power, there is no such good treatment, Comrade Lao Li specifically warned. Low-level beastmasters of levels 1 to 3 are best not to use potions to assist their training. It can easily affect the purity of the mantra and the sensitivity to life energy. After Li Chang'an reaches the intermediate level of Beast Master, he can start to use some pharmaceutical aids. Because the mid-level Beast Control Master has experienced a great level of improvement, his body has initially transformed into extraordinary organs, and has become resistant to the impurities contained in the medicine. The body can metabolize these impurities on its own after a period of time, provided the impurity content is not high. Once you reach the high-level beast control level, you will be much more relaxed. As long as you don't use the medicine as food, taking a lot of medicine is okay. Therefore, low-level beast masters should not think about using drugs to practice, as it will easily destroy the body. The mantra practice could not see results in a short period of time, so Li Chang'an decided to focus on Mao Mao. As long as Mao Mao is trained to the awakening stage, the racial talent will be awakened. Li Chang'an relied on the energy fed back from the soul contract and the new abilities he inherited to complete most of the training of a level 1 beast master. At that time, it only takes a few weeks of practice to successfully break through to the level of a level 2 beast master. For this reason, Li Chang'an has been pestering his mother Mu Qingqing during this time to learn new fire-based spiritual food. Originally, Mu Qingqing was still very surprised, hoping that Li Chang'an could calm down and master the first few spiritual foods to the point of mastery. But when she heard that the food that was most suitable for Mao Mao was created based on Mao Mao's inherited memory, Mu Qingqing was ignited with fire. Customizing a recipe for a pet beast with the blood of an ancient dragon might be a good inspiration for her currently stuck spiritual food skills. Before every meal, Mu Qingqing and Li Chang'an begin experimenting with new spiritual food recipes. The main job is Mu Qingqing, while Li Chang'an is responsible for being a mouthpiece, telling Mu Qingqing how Mao Mao feels. Sometimes he will give his opinions from the perspective of a human beast master. Finally, based on Mao Mao's description and the guidance from inherited memories, Mu Qingqing and Li Chang'an spent 5 days and finally customized a new spiritual food set meal. It's called Lava Package. The level of this set meal can be upgraded to the level of high-end spiritual food, but this is not the upper limit of this series of recipes. Due to time issues and Mu Qingqing's new inspiration, this series of spiritual food has not been completed yet. According to Ms. Mu, who is always 18 years old, she has digested all the inspiration after she studied in seclusion for a period of time. This series of Jieshi Lava Package will usher in the king-level version. Li Chang'an watched her mother hurried to the tea house research room. It seemed that this recipe development had inspired her a lot. Maybe in the near future, there will be a second-level spiritual food master in my family. The levels of spiritual food blenders and blenders in other directions are similar. Divided into lower levels, intermediate and high-level mediators respectively correspond to the levels of beast masters. Once you reach the realm of a king-level beast master and create a king-level spiritual food package, you can be called a spiritual food master. Note that it is a set meal, not a separate king-level spiritual food. Therefore, when reaching the king-level level, the assessment of the master blender is particularly stringent, and one must be able to independently complete the king-level spiritual food package to be evaluated successfully. Miu Qingqing is a first-level spiritual food master. Thanks to chatting with Miu Qingqing during this period, Li Chenggen finally understood the realm after the king-level beast master. After the king level, there are throne-level and heavenly king-level beast masters, corresponding to the second-level and third-level spiritual food masters respectively. The skill training of a blender is different from that of a beast master, and its improvement is very slow. Therefore, it often happens that the strength of a first-level harmony master is at the throne level, and his strength exceeds the realm of skill. There are too few examples of people like Miu Qingqing who match their strength and skills. That is the realm of genius. Therefore, once Miu Qingqing succeeds, her identity and status will be top-notch even in Province Z. I have to say it's great to have a master blender at home. Li Chenggen lamented his mother's career as a genius, and when he met Mao Mao, a cunning smile appeared on his lips. With the continuous feeding of fire spiritual food during this period, Mao Mao has reached the threshold of breaking through to the awakening stage. Unlike ordinary beasts that take time to digest and grow, the Hell Flame Dragon grows extremely quickly in the early stages. As long as the energy is in place, the Hell Flame Dragon can rely on its own terrifying digestive ability, as well as the unique physical condition between the elemental body and the flesh and blood body that the Hell Flame Dragon had when it was young. It can grow quickly and get rid of the weak period between the infancy and awakening stages, ensuring the chance of survival in the wild. This is the case with Mao Mao now. For the upcoming awakening period, Li Chenggen specially gave Mao Mao a day of rest so that she could grow up with peace of mind. Li Chenggen stroked Mao Mao, who was sleeping soundly, with a look of pity on his face. This rapid growth only occurs when the Hell Flame Dragon is young. When it reaches the extraordinary level and enters the growth stage, the Hell Flame Dragon will completely stabilize its flesh and blood body, and the passive ability of body elementalization can only be achieved through skills. Naturally, it is impossible to use the gap between the elemental body and the flesh and blood body to achieve the effect of rapid growth. This can be regarded as a unique ability evolved by the ancient dragons in order to reduce the mortality rate of their cubs. After a day's rest, Li Chenggen got up early and made 5 low-level lava packages. The low-level lava set meal only includes the staple food, lava jelly, and the drink, fire essence liquid. Lava jelly is a jelly-like food made by fusing liquefied low-level fire crystals and rock berries. The crystal-clear red jelly is sprinkled with a layer of fine particles, which looks like high-quality volcanic rock after being cooked. It not only adds energy and necessary minerals, but also improves the taste. Fire essence liquid is much simpler. It is an extract of fire essence grass and crystal peach, with some sugar added to enrich the taste. 5 lava meals are enough for Mao Mao to enter the awakening stage twice. Li Chenggen wore high-temperature protective clothing, came to the yard, and activated the protective formation. In order to prevent others from being frightened, he also specifically mentioned the highest level of the formation. Added optical camouflage, breath masking and sound insulation. All is ready except for the opportunity. At Li Chenggen's instruction, Mao Mao ate 2 portions of the lava set meal. 10 minutes later, dark red hellfire continued to appear from Mao Mao's body, and the terrifying temperature of the hellfire distorted the air. At this time, Mao Mao seemed to have a doppelganger, with a twisted figure emerging from it. As the surrounding temperature gets higher and higher, Li Chenggen has retreated to the protective fence 3 meters away and opened the temperature isolation cover. As soon as the temperature isolation cover was opened, Li Chenggen suddenly felt a rare coolness. Mao Mao growled in pain, as if something in his body was preventing him from entering the awakening stage. Li Chenggen frowned. It shouldn't be. According to Mao Mao's inherited memory, it wouldn't be so difficult or painful for the Hell Flame Dragon to enter its awakening stage. Is there something missing compared to the wild hell flame dragon? Meow. Chang'an, I still need energy. Li Chang'an was startled and resolutely opened the temperature isolation cover and sent 2 lava meals inside. He also used the energy diversion array that he had used once before. This thing can only be used 3 times for 10,000 yuan. What a profiteer. After Li Chang'an came out, the protective clothing on his body was already melting, which showed the horror of prison inflammation. If he stayed there any longer, this protective suit would probably be completely scrapped. At this moment, Mao Mao, who had eaten 2 more lava meals, roared, and the surrounding hellfire gathered around him and enveloped him. The awakening has begun. We haven't gotten down to business yet. Naturally, Mao Mao knew what was important, and immediately moved away from Li Chang'an. Ever since humans on Blue Star gained the ability of contracted beasts, every time a new beast master cultivates the initial pet beast to the awakening stage. As the mother star, the Blue Star will provide a special life energy, also known as the mother's gift. This energy can deepen the connection between the beast master and the pet beast, and greatly increase the probability of the beast master gaining abilities from the pet beast. This is also the reason why after cultivating the initial beast master to the awakening stage, you can gain the ability to pet the beast. At the same time, because the soul contract is two-way, the pet beast will also receive gifts, and the pet beast whose potential is not at the elite level will have its potential raised to the elite level. For pet beasts with potential greater than or equal to the elite level, any one of the 3 racial talents, basic physical fitness, and race-specific skills will be strengthened. This makes those ethnic groups whose racial skills or talents are of great benefit to mankind more expensive. Mao Mao sat obediently on the side, while Li Chang'an sat cross-legged and immersed himself in the brain space. The soul contract imprinted on the beast controlling space was constantly stimulated with mantra power. Finally, activated by a large amount of mantra power, the soul contract began to emit gleaming starlight. Li Chang'an's consciousness was also brought into a mysterious space by starlight. In this space, Li Chang'an looked up and looked around, but there was nothing in it. Until he lowered his head, an emerald green planet continued to enlarge in his eyes. The vast, ancient, and vibrant atmosphere filled his mind, until he saw a majestic figure whose face was unclear. This majestic figure seemed to be separated from him by countless years. A gentle and kindly whisper came, and a fleeting shadow appeared in front of Li Chang'an's eyes, and his journey came to an end. The scenery in the courtyard returned to his field of vision again, and then Li Chang'an felt a sting all over his body, and then this slight sting gradually evolved into a severe pain of the level of a violent storm. The next second, Li Chang'an's white and tender skin seemed to be half-cooked and turned extremely red. Having experienced life and death twice, he miraculously withstood the sudden severe pain. He felt that the bones in his body were undergoing transformation again and again. It was like a steamroller was constantly crushing his bones, and then they were spliced together by some force and crushed again. The heart in the chest was beating violently, and the beating frequency was no less than the last time the ancient dragon's heart awakened its talent. Li Chang'an fell into a tsunami of despair and pain, and Mao Mao was not much better. The newly born talent in its body also suffered repeated crushing. Both of them were unable to moan because the pain level was too high. They could only fall on the spot and gasp for air, letting the bodily fluids flow from their mouths and eyes. Li Chang'an didn't know how long it took, but his godless eyes caught the starlight falling in the dark night. Oh, it's night. Then he got excited. It's night. Li Chang'an stood up quickly, wiped the remaining saliva from the corner of his mouth, and looked around. I found that Mao Mao had already woken up and was still chewing lava jelly. How is Mao Mao? Meow. It's okay. No one is home and hasn't come back. I'm hungry, so I'll eat first. Li Chang'an, I'm asking how you are. However, Li Chang'an breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the harvest with peace of mind. Name: Ryan Discatal Mao Mao. Race: Hellfire Dragon. Attribute: Purgatory. Level: Awakening Stage. Potential: Innate Ability: Infernal Core. Low-level skills: Hellfire, Skilled Level, Infernal Claws, Contact Level, Ambush Domination Level. Intermediate skills: Fire Spirit Entanglement, Right Pointing Arrow, Burning Hell Flame Mark, Mastery Level. Advanced skill: Red Lotus Breath, Contact Level. Status: Hungry. Mao Mao's panel has undergone earth-shaking changes. The first is the appearance of attributes, purgatory. An attribute that has never been seen before. Generally speaking, the attribute of the hell flame dragon is fire. In Miua's inheritance memory, even 10 generations of ancestors have never seen this attribute. Finally, Miua said that he had read the 3-generation genealogy starting from the original hell flame dragon, and then he saw a few words about the attributes of purgatory. To put it simply, Miua has returned to his ancestors. This is the ancient dragon's fur returning to its ancestors. This really makes people sigh at the magic of the world. As for the purgatory attribute, even Miua doesn't know the specific information, and can only rely on Li Chenggen and it to slowly explore it in the future. The second item is the emergence of innate abilities. If there is no accident, there will be an accident. The Hell Flame Dragon has 3 major talents: Hell's Heart, Hell's Blood, and Hell's Shadow. The only thing is that there is no purgatory core. According to Li Chenggen's guess, the core of purgatory should be the talent of the 3 generations of descendants of the original Hell Flame Dragon. Because Miua felt that there was a possibility of taking this talent further. Perhaps this step was a racial talent unique to the original Hell Flame Dragon. The effect of Infernal Core is very simple. It combines all the advantages of Hell's Heart and Hell's Blood, and comes with high resistance and damage reduction. Purgatory Core, Purgatory Skill Power and Energy Recovery plus 500%, all attribute resistance and damage reduction plus 100%, own energy storage limit increased by 10 times, any attack has a chance to add a red lotus mark. Analysis of Red Lotus Mark. Carve a red lotus mark on the enemy, providing the enemy with debuff effects such as vulnerability and reduced healing. After seeing it, Li Chenggen called it abnormal. The damage increase and mark addition of Hell Blood, as well as the recovery and energy limit increase of Hell Heart have been raised to a higher level. There is also the noble resistance and damage reduction, which makes Ji Yulong's already ridiculously high resistance even better. He could imagine that in the future, his opponent's pet beast would attack and it wouldn't even be qualified to leave traces on its fur scales. How bad would the other person be at that time? Miua went further. Li Chenggen speculated that the last talent was missing, the fusion of the shadow of prison. Although it is a pity, Li Chenggen is still self-aware, and it is a great blessing to be able to awaken Purgatory Core. Finally, there are the changes in Miua's skills. The proficiency of the Hellfire skill was directly raised to the proficiency level. Miua demonstrated the Hellfire, and the trajectory of the Hellfire could turn in the air. The skill Fire Claw was converted into Purgatory Claw due to the influence of the Purgatory Core. The level remains unchanged, but it is more suitable for Miua. The same goes for Fire Spirit Coil. Due to the influence of the Purgatory Core, it was converted into Burning Flame Scar. The level and proficiency remain unchanged. The effect is better than Flame Spirit Coil. Burning Hell Flame Scar. The special Hell Flame is materialized and imprinted on the Purgatory body in the form of flame scars to increase the power of the Hell Flame and physical strength. There is an additional effect that increases the power of Hell Flame, and it can also be used in reverse. Not only can Miua continue to disguise, but her body shape can also change into the previous kitten state. Of course the weight remains the same. As for the high-level skill, Red Lotus Breath, there is nothing special about it. It is very powerful, sprays hellfire in a wide range, and increases the probability of adding the Red Lotus mark. Li Chenggen doesn't know the specific effect of Red Lotus Breath for the time being. He didn't dare to let Miua use it. Firstly, he was worried about his own yard, and secondly, he was worried about damaging Miua's foundation. After all, this skill is a high-level skill, and it is extremely difficult for elite-level pets to use it, let alone a cub in the awakening stage. Since then, this talent awakening conference has concluded. Oh no, I haven't seen Li Chenggen's own panel yet. After being reminded by Miua, Li Chenggen finally remembered that he still had the ability to inherit. When he looked at himself, he realized how much this ability inheritance ceremony had improved him. The first is the improvement of physical fitness. Those painful experiences are not in vain. Even with Miua's current weight, he can easily pick it up with one hand. What followed was a rapid increase in spell power and spiritual power. Good news. 9/10 of the original 500 cubic meters of beast control space have been filled. Bad news. The 500 cubic meters of beast control space has been expanded to 1,000 cubic meters. The revolution has not yet succeeded, and comrades still need to work hard. Li Chang'an looked at the sky speechlessly. The benefits of expanding the beast control space are of course great, and his own spell power capacity will far exceed that of the same level. The beast control space can withstand stronger pet beasts. For example, level 1 Li Chang'an can now withstand the pressure brought by Mao Mao's breakthrough to extraordinary 2 stars. At the same time, it lays a solid foundation for opening up the world of beast control in the future. But the disadvantage is that the realm that could have been broken through in 1 week was abruptly delayed until half a year later. The gap is indeed quite large. Secondly, the improvement in mental power is also considerable. Perhaps because he saw the whole picture of Blue Star, he felt that his mental power was cheering. Perception, detection range, and mental strength are greatly improved. Li Chang'an had a hunch that he might have exceeded the 20 mental power standard required for a level 2 beast master. Finally, Li Chang'an was surprised by the ability he inherited from Mao Mao. He didn't expect it to be this ability, Shadow of Prison. Shadow of Prison abnormal status immunity increased by 50%, agility increased by 50%, all attacks have a double strike effect. Double strike effect. 2 additional attacks are added after the attack, and each additional attack is half the power of the original attack. Rounding it up is doubling the power. The last piece of the puzzle for Mao Mao's talent transformation is actually in him. No, if it was inherited from Mao Mao, then Mao Mao's talent should have completely transformed. Why? This gift from the mother planet is not plundering, but copying and sharing. Li Chang'an remembered the last shadow that appeared in front of him in the previous picture. Masaka, is that the innate ability, Shadow of Hell? First the hunting notes, and then this inexplicable innate ability. Li Chang'an felt that he was being targeted by something. Seeing Li Chang'an frowning, Mao Mao thought he had inherited a bad ability, and said a little guiltily, "Meow, I'm sorry, Chang'an, is my skill too bad?" Li Chang'an laughed and touched Mao Mao's drooped head. Why did he think so much? The most important thing is what is in front of him. No, Mao Mao's ability is very powerful, I just think too much. Li Chang'an and Mao Mao talked about the Shadow of Prison. Mao Mao's eyes widened and he waved his little paws. Meow, 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 Chang'an, that. Li Chang'an wondered, which one? Mao Mao shouted excitedly, meow. Chang'an, your talent. Talent, which talent? Ingenuity, Heart of the Ancient Dragon. Wait, Heart of the Ancient Dragon. Li Chang'an immediately understood why Mao Mao was so excited. It is the talent of Heart of Ancient Dragon. It is 100% consistent with the passive effect of the Ancient Dragon, plus the resonance of the beast. If one day Li Chang'an can bear the burden of 100% perfect beast control resonance, maybe Mao Mao's talent transformation can gradually be realized. Li Chang'an had a glimmer of understanding in his heart. Perhaps that figure had given him the Shadow of Prison talent just for this ideal result. Li Chang'an grinned, stroking the mane on Mao Mao's head and chest, and said, "Mao Mao, you are so awesome. You found the reason right away." Mao Mao received Li Chang'an's praise, and she embarrassedly lowered her head and rubbed Li Chang'an's chest, giggling in the soul contract. One person and one dragon had a rough fight in the yard. Mao Mao shrank back to the size of a kitten and jumped onto Li Chang'an's shoulders. Even though Li Chang'an's physical fitness has been super enhanced, his head can't stand the current Mao Mao. So it settled for the next best thing and chose to stay on Li Chang'an's shoulders. Since Mao Mao was still hungry on the board, Li Chang'an made 5 more low-level lava meals this time, which satisfied Mao Mao's current appetite. Of course, this is just a normal phenomenon after Mao Mao awakens his talent. Although his appetite has increased, it has only increased to the point where he can eat 5 meals per meal. Well, it's a set meal for 3. Not much. Sunglasses. JPG. For the sake of Mao Mao's future, Li Chang'an is now preparing to practice the middle-level lava package. A few days after Mao Mao awakened his talent, Hongyan No. 1 Middle School announced the results of the final exam. As expected, Li Chang'an still ranks first, followed closely by Wen Miaohua. The day after the results were announced, the school notified students who had passed the test to gather in front of the school gate. Some students who failed will take the makeup exam in a week. Only those who pass the makeup exam will follow the last batch of students from all high schools in Hongyan City to choose their pets. It's a small punishment. As for those students who fail the re-examination, unfortunately, they will lose the qualification to become Beast Masters. They will be assigned to regular classes in their senior year of high school to learn other life skills. They can fail even the most basic high school subjects, and they don't even have the conditions to pursue a scientific research path. The university they attended was also a vocational college similar to their previous life, which ensured that they could acquire a certain skill. Hongyan number 1 middle school arranged a dozen buses to transport students to the Institute of Ecology. Not all of these dozens of buses are occupied by people, and some of them are prepared for contracting larger pet beasts and beast masters on the return journey. They were still students, they had just completed their sole contract, and the beast control space had not yet been opened, so they made these arrangements. Li Chenggen doesn't have this trouble. His beast control space is large and wide, so he doesn't have to worry about not being able to squeeze it in. At this moment, his head was hanging on Wen Miaohua's shoulder, sleeping soundly. He practiced all night last night. To be precise, he practiced all night for a few days after Mao Mao's awakening period. The specific reason is also a matter of the innate ability, shadow of prison. Li Chenggen discovered that the word shadow in shadow of hell was actually a noun. When he was practicing, his own shadow was also practicing. After his body was tempered by the special life energy of his mother planet, his talent for cultivating spells has also been greatly improved. And now this improved talent is multiplied by 2, allowing Li Chenggen to feel the pleasure of cultivation for the first time. The visible increase in spell power confused him, so he practiced day and night without eating or sleeping. If this progress continues, the originally expected half a year can be shortened to 2 months. Wen Miaohua's earlobes flushed with shyness, but her body still tilted towards Li Chenggen unconsciously, so that he could sleep more comfortably. Then under the warmth coming from her shoulders, Wen Miaohua also fell asleep. The two of them were leaning against each other, shoulder to shoulder, head to head. If Mr. Driver hadn't reminded them, they might have missed the time to get off the bus. Why are you asleep too? Li Chenggen was very confused. He remembered that Wen Miaohua's life schedule was very regular and there should be no lack of sleep. Wen Miaohua couldn't say that because Li Chenggen's body was too warm, he got addicted to it unknowingly. How could a 16-year-old girl say such things from her heart? So the girl said, I practiced late yesterday. Li Chenggen looked over sideways, are you practicing too late? I do not believe. The girl lowered her head, burying this shy emotion deep in her heart. Students who choose wood department come here. Water element students are here. ... The staff of the institute carrying the sign shouted loudly, and when the number of people was almost there, they called the names one by one on the list in their hands. Li Chenggen and Wen Miaohua chose different attributes. One was the wood type and the other was the ice type. They couldn't meet each other in the ecological park. After confirming that the personnel were correct, the 2 leading teachers and 3 research institute personnel of each attribute led their respective student teams to an altar. There is a silver formation engraved on the altar. A staff member explained, this is a short-distance space shuttle array. The institute's ecological park covers an area of 500 square kilometers. Without the teleportation array, it would take a whole day to walk there. Now let me ask you, does anyone have a history of space energy allergy? All the students shook their heads. If they were allergic to space energy, the beast control space would not be opened. There is no space for beast control, and there is no place to store a large amount of magic power. You will only be a level 1 beast control master for the rest of your life. So why should I be a beast master? I should change my major as soon as possible before it's too late. After repeated confirmations, the researchers safely opened the space teleportation array. After several rounds of teleportation, everyone arrived in a peaceful valley. The valley is surrounded by mountains on 3 sides, with many lush trees, and an endless plain in the distance. A few small black dots were sparsely moving on the plain. The staff member took out a large bag from the bag behind his back and distributed the bracelets inside to each student. This is a specially made smart bracelet that is supervised by the mechanical beasts in the Research Institute. This bracelet comes with a protective energy shield. It will be turned on when it detects that your life is in danger. At the same time, rescuers will quickly arrive at the location where the coordinates are sent by the bracelet. In addition, the selection of pet beasts this time is strictly prohibited by force, unless the pet beast takes the initiative to challenge. Otherwise, the selection qualification will be cancelled. After that, you will probably have to buy pet eggs at your own expense. A strange smile appeared on the head of the staff's face, and he said, "Of course, I know some of you are not short of money, but I still want to remind you. If the above circumstances are judged to be serious, a record will be left on the file. You should know the consequences." Hearing this sentence, some people in the student team who originally didn't take it seriously stuck out their tongues. This was indeed a price they couldn't afford. People with stains on their files can go to college, but there is basically no chance at major universities. Although the rich second generation is rich, they are not stupid and will not risk their future by doing such a stupid thing as bullying a cub. After seeing the effect of the threat, the staff shouted loudly, "Disband now and come back here before 5 o'clock in the afternoon. If you don't know the way, you can use the markers on the smart bracelet to lead the way." As soon as they finished speaking, the two school teachers nodded, and more than 100 students turned into birds and beasts and dispersed, running towards the forests and plains in the distance. As for the risks in the wild, Dongguan country has been teaching students wild survival-related training since junior high school. Those who cannot overcome this hurdle should give up the idea of venturing outside the city as soon as possible. Li Chenggen walked straight to the Miua Department C area. His father was already taking care of him, so no one was still wandering around slowly. The staff's eyelids jumped when they saw Li Chenggen's clear goal. He is indeed the son of the deputy director. His purpose is clear. Li Chenggen did not encounter any dangers along the way. It would be better to say that those dangers were subconsciously keeping away from him. How is this going? Li Chenggen was puzzled, and Mao Mao said in the soul communication, "Meow." Could it be because Chenggen didn't restrain his aura? Concentrate your breath. Where do I have any breath? Thinking of this, Li Chenggen looked solemnly. He seemed to have the ability in this area, the talent of the prison flame dragon, shadow of prison. Even if it only works on him, this is Ji Yulong's talent. He is now like an ancient hybrid dragon wearing human skin, walking freely in the forest. How dare these monsters, which have lived in the ecological park since childhood, offend him? After thinking about this, Li Chenggen was really helpless. He had never considered using hunting notes to learn a concealment technique for himself. But Mao Mao can ignore the pollution on the soul when adding points to the hunting notes skill. But he couldn't do it. As an adult who has walked through the big dive vat of society, the only thing Li Chenggen has learned is to be self-aware. Adding skills to yourself is like being an addict on drugs. Once you start, it's hard to stop. The remaining soul messages in the hunting notes all warn newcomers not to rely too much on the hunting notes. Attribute plundering is unavoidable in the process of becoming stronger, but adding points to your own skills is something you can do without. If you use it, be prepared to be enslaved. Therefore, Li Chenggen's original expectation for his second favorite suddenly disappeared. He cares more about his own future than his second favorite. Forget it, just walk around, maybe you can meet a little guy who is not afraid of me. Li Chenggen completely relaxed and wandered around the wooden park. Although these pet beasts were avoiding him, with his good physical fitness, he still saw many wood-type pet beasts that were rarely seen in the outside world. Well, there are even pet beasts like flower vine snakes. The flower vine snake is purely wood-type and not poisonous. The scales on the body are covered with moss, and there is a flower growing on the head. There are different types of flowers, which are related to the environment in which the flower vine snake was born. The most popular thing about the flower vine snake is its ability to recover and shed its skin instantly. These two abilities are also its talents. When the flower vine snake receives a fatal attack, it will use its slippery moss scales to shed its skin to avoid a fatal attack. And when it runs out of oil, it will suck up the cherished flowers on top of its head and seize the energy stored inside to achieve instant recovery. No matter which ability it is highly sought after by humans. I wonder who this timid guy will take advantage of. Li Chenggen bypassed the little snake trembling in the cave and continued walking towards the plain. On the way, we also met a group of 4 seasoned deer. These beautiful creatures were grazing leisurely. This group of guys is not common, they belong to the category of protecting pet animals. That is to say, during the special period of selecting the initial pet beast, there is an opportunity to make a contract. If anyone else doesn't have enough authority, they won't have a chance with this group of treasures. The four-season deer is also a pet animal of the wood type. According to the time of birth, it can be divided into four types: spring-horned, summer-horned, autumn-horned and winter-horned deer. The attributes of the four-season deer after advancement are also different, and they all have leadership level potential that exceeds the elite level. The evolved form of the spring-horned deer, the spring-flowered deer, is a pure wood type. The hair on its body is light green, and the antlers on its head are also covered with flowers. This is also the origin of its name. Spring-flower deer has strong healing ability, and a small number of individuals with strong vitality can ripen the plant. The evolved form of the summer-horned deer, the summer-flame deer, has dual attributes of wood and fire, and has fiery red fur. His temper will be a little more violent than other evolved types, and the antlers on his head that will fall off have also turned into flame horns that are extremely difficult to fall off. This has also resulted in the high price of Xianlu's horns in the medicinal market. The evolved form of the autumn-antlered deer, the autumn fruit deer, has both earth and wood attributes. Its body is light yellow, and some fruits are regularly hung on its antlers. The type of fruit is determined by the spiritual fruit material taken by the autumn fruit deer when it evolves. It is a rare resource-based pet beast. Beast masters who are often short of money can try to cultivate one, provided that you have enough contribution. Finally, there is the rarest winter-antlered deer. Because there are not many fawns born in winter, there are really very few pet animals of this type. Although the four-season deer are an extraordinary group, their breeding season is in summer and autumn, and individuals born in winter are an exception. In Li Chenggen's impression, only 5 winter-antlered deer were born in the Institute of Ecology in the past 20 years. The winter-antlered deer is not only rare, but its strength is also among the best among all season deer. It has 2 evolved types, the winter crystal deer and the winter wood deer. The former has both wood and ice attributes and is very powerful, while the latter is still a wood-attributed beast, but has a powerful king-level evolved, snow giant wood deer. This is also the only pet beast among the four seasons deer that can evolve to the king level, possessing the potential of a high king. The conditions for the snow wind giant wood deer project are demanding, and there are currently only a few examples of successful evolution. One of them is in the hands of Lin Feiya, the snowman Bo, one of the 8 pillar kingdoms of Dongguang. Meow, Chang'an. Something good happened. The group of deer with long horns chatted and said there was a pair of very special pet beasts ahead. Mao Mao, who shares the soul vision with Li Chenggen, issued a reminder. Li Chenggen, you actually understand deer language. Mao Mao, similar to other monsters, the four-season deer herd also stopped eating grass when they saw Li Chenggen. However, since there were still evolved leaders in the herd, the remaining deer did not escape immediately. Li Chenggen left a few low-level wood crystals on the spot as a thank-you gift, and then rushed towards the place where he heard it. After Li Chenggen left Shiladi, the four-season deer herd started eating again. The leader, Sha Yanlu, lowered his head to pick up a few pieces of wood crystals left by Li Chenggen, placed them next to the newly born calves, and looked up at the direction in which Li Chenggen left. Li Chenggen walked for half an hour and saw many new wood-type monsters. But I have never seen the wooden house that Shijiluko mentioned. After walking for another 10 miles, Li Chenggen finally found a giant tree in the distance. There were many ordinary trees beside the giant tree. Although this small forest is not big, it is still quite tricky. The trees are fine, the problem is the thorn bushes all over the place. Which plagued wood-type monster planted so many thorns here? He couldn't let Mao Mao use Hellflame to open a way. Otherwise, when the cigarette smoke starts, others will probably be sitting on the iron bench, and the smart bracelets on their hands will seamlessly switch to silver. Just when Li Chenggen was helpless, a ray of fire came from behind him, opening a path for him into the woods. Li Chenggen looked back and saw the leaving figure of a Cheyenne deer. Sure enough, the commander-level monsters already possess a considerable degree of intelligence and will not rely solely on instinct like the extraordinary level monsters. Li Chenggen sighed and walked into the woods from the trail opened by Sha Yanlu, extinguishing many sparks along the way. When he came to the foot of the giant tree, there was indeed a hole under the giant tree, which could accommodate the entry and exit of a 2-person tall monster. There is also a clear spring near the cave entrance. There is indeed an awakening thorn bear in the tree hole, but unfortunately this thorn bear seems to be unable to resist the aura on his body. Li Chang'an sighed deeply. He couldn't even bear the breath on his body, let alone fighting alongside Mao Mao. Just when he was about to return the same way, he seemed to catch a white figure out of the corner of his eye. A rabbit with a snow-white body and green limbs was holding a wooden spoon and fetching water near the spring. This rabbit's ears are very special, they are green leaf-shaped. Li Chang'an thought for a moment. Green leaf-shaped rabbit ears, which are the characteristics of the extraordinary monster double-leaf rabbit. But the fur of the double-leaf rabbit is green, and this rabbit only has green limbs. Mutations. These two words appeared in Li Chang'an's mind. Judging from the appearance of the little rabbit, it seemed that he was not frightened by the aura on his body. The most important thing is that he is very intelligent and knows how to fetch water with a wooden spoon. Li Chang'an quietly approached the little rabbit. After the little rabbit finished fetching water, he looked back and saw a large shadow hanging over his head. Li Chang'an's back was facing the sun at this time, and the vague aura on his body highlighted the thick shadow on his face. Little rabbit. Sigma, A. Li Chang'an's sad face, upright arrow. The little rabbit kicked off and ran away. Li Chang'an, with quick eyes and quick hands, pinched the little rabbit's neck and picked it up. The little guy didn't flinch even when he was lifted in the air. Instead, he hit Li Chang'an's arm hard with the small wooden spoon in his hand. Unfortunately, Li Chang'an, who had strengthened his body, only felt that the little rabbit's attack was very light and gentle. When the thorn bear in the tree hole saw that the little rabbit was caught, he quickly came out of the hole with a grin on his face, seeming to threaten Li Chang'an to let go of the little rabbit. Then Li Chang'an released Mao Mao, and the hybrid dragon level pressure made thorn bear roll his eyes and fainted on the spot. The performance of the little rabbit was much better than that of the stupid thorn bear. Although Li Chang'an could clearly feel that the little rabbit's body was constantly shaking. But the little guy's eyes were fixed on Li Chang'an. Not bad, very brave. Li Chang'an put the little rabbit on the ground and asked Mao Mao to act as the translator. Mao Mao didn't expect that it was a majestic ancient dragon. After contracting with Li Chang'an, it was not fighting that played the most, but translating. With inherited memories, Mao Mao can be called an encyclopedia in the world of Warcraft. For Li Chang'an now, the knowledge that Mao Mao possesses is much more useful than its combat power. Under Mao Mao's translation, Li Chang'an successfully chatted with the little rabbit. This mutated double-leaf rabbit was raised by Thorn Bear's mother, and he and Thorn Bear are considered siblings. Perhaps this lineage of Thorn Bears is a vegetarian. It is gentler but also more timid than its kind. The thorn bushes outside the woods were planted by this thorn bear. Although it lost the powerful body of the thorn bear, it also gained stronger wood energy control capabilities. Successfully transferred from melee warrior to forest shaman. This little rabbit is responsible for finding food for the timid thorn bear. It also makes rough spiritual food on weekdays. This creates a more flexible forelimb. Li Chang'an's eyes lit up when he heard this, and then he explained the purpose of his visit to the little rabbit. Not surprisingly, the little rabbit refused. The reason is that he can't worry about this stupid big guy like Thorn Bear, and is afraid that he will starve to death after he leaves. Li Chang'an thought thoughtfully. According to Little Rabbit's description of the loser Thorn Bear, this situation is really possible. Because the Institute of Ecology does not interfere too much in the ecological park, they focus more on observation and recording. The mentality of the monsters in the ecological park that trusts and fears humans is also the result of generations of researchers working hard to add sweet dates to the stick. That is to say, as long as I help this stupid guy find a good home, you will be willing to come with me, right? After Mao Mao relayed Li Chang'an's meaning to the little rabbit thought about it and nodded. Seeing this, Li Chang'an's evaluation of the little rabbit's intelligence rose to a new level. Mao Mao, go call that thorn bear who is pretending to be dead. Mao Mao received the order and came to the thorn bear. She hit him with 2 cat punches. The pain was so painful that the thorn bear sat up in shock as he was dying. Jump 3 feet high. It's hard to imagine that this stupid bear, which is more than 2 meters tall, has such strong jumping ability. Mao Mao shook his head and growled, signaling the thorn bear to follow him. Thorn Bear came to Li Chang'an coquettishly like a wronged little daughter-in-law. Li Chang'an unexpectedly captured the emotions of hatred and grievance in the eyes of the little rabbit and the thorn bear respectively. Little rabbit, no, the intelligence of these two monsters is far beyond that of ordinary awakening monsters. Only the previous commander level Sha Yanlu could rival them. Li Chang'an asked the thorn bear, "Show all your abilities." Mao Mao growled dutifully, and the hair all over the thorn bear's body trembled, but under Li Chang'an's calm eyes, he still chose to do it. In front of the thorn bear, yellow beams of light, green light spots, and a slowly growing thorn appeared in turn. Solar beam, slow catalysis, and this. There was a hint of wonder in Li Chang'an's eyes. If this thorn bear hadn't been so timid, he would have wanted to take it home. He felt the growth on the slowly growing thorn. This is an aura skill that can increase the attack power of nearby friendly units. Unexpectedly, this guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes actually has the qualifications of a forest shaman. The talent of Thorn Bear's awakening is totem amplification, which enhances the effect of aura skills. Okay, this bear's talent is too good. The best situation for the contractor is to inherit the talent of the Thorn Bear and perform double enhancement with the Thorn Bear in the future. The last one is also a solar beam, which adds some attack methods. Slow catalysis is one of the most suitable abilities for students who want to find a good job in the future. However, it is really difficult to find a candidate to introduce to the Thorn Bear. If you find someone more ordinary, it will bury its talent. Who to look for? The face of a cheerful boy slowly appeared in Li Chang'an's mind. Oh, I almost forgot about you, Lao Bai. After deciding on the candidate, Li Chang'an also wanted to see what the skills of this little rabbit were. After all, it's hard to find a suitable pet animal for him these days. Just the fact that he can withstand the scent of Mao Mao during the awakening stage is enough for Li Chang'an to value this smart little rabbit. Show me what skills you have. The little rabbit received Mao Mao's message and consciously showed off his abilities. 2 wood attribute energy blades cut through the weeds not far away. A fragrant breath of vegetation rushed from Li Chang'an's nose to his forehead, which immediately made him feel much more relaxed. Blessings of leaf blades and green grass. Li Chang'an finally understood why Thorn Bear wanted to adopt this little rabbit. Blessings of green grass. Intermediate wood skills, but more effective than high-level skills. It is one of the favorite auxiliary skills of turret pets and mediators. Blessing of green grass clear away some fatigue and improve mental recovery. No wonder this Thorn Bear was able to plant a protective bush of thorns in this forest just by relying on the power of its awakening stage. Love is aided by the blessings of grass from little rabbits. With this skill alone, Li Chang'an will not lose money if he consumes 1 contract slot. After completing these 2 skills, the little rabbit began to show its talent. I saw it pick up the small wooden spoon in its hand, crush some berries and grass in the stone pit, stir it a few times, and finally sprinkle it with spring water. A magical scene appeared. Li Chang'an's eyes widened, and he could actually feel the sense of coordination belonging to spiritual food from these juices. As if that's what these humble things should do. Li Chang'an felt like shit. Although he didn't know what kind of talent this was, he knew he had found a treasure. But on the surface, he still pretended to be nonchalant, dipped some juice into his fingertips, took a sip, and said to the little rabbit, "Not bad." When the little rabbit heard Li Chang'an's approval, he shyly pulled down his green leaf ears with his front paws, covering half of his face. Mao Mao and Li Chang'an have the same mind. Of course, she knows how excited Li Chang'an was before. Seeing Li Chang'an's indifferent expression of filling the cup, a rare tremor appeared in his sky-blue eyes. He actually took advantage of the fact that little rabbit had never seen the world, and even coaxed and deceived him while pretending to be reluctant. So despicable. I like. Mao Mao also imitated Li Chang'an's appearance, as shown in the TV series, raising her head slightly and nodding towards the little rabbit to express approval. It can only be said that like a master, like a favorite, the proud ancient dragon has also been polluted by the evil eyes of humans. After the discussion, Li Chang'an left the woods with Mao Mao on his shoulders, a little rabbit in his arms, and a simple and honest Thorn Bear behind him. The siblings didn't go out much, so there wasn't anything valuable in the tree hole. Thorn Bear also wanted to take some garbage with him, but was stopped by Mao Mao's kind words. On the way back, Li Chang'an gave all the wood crystals he carried to the Four Seasons deer group, and also left 2 fresh salads. The Cheyenne deer nodded to Li Chang'an and planned to give him a fallen flame horn, but Li Chang'an refused. Except for pet animals, students are not allowed to take away anything related to the ecological park. Li Chang'an reluctantly rejected this small goal and continued walking back. On the way, 2 of the 3 fresh salads left in his bag were swallowed whole by the thorn bear. After the little rabbit finished the other portion, he asked Li Chang'an with bright eyes to teach him how to make this food. Li Chang'an said we would talk about it later. He also learned that the thorn bear lineage was already the 23rd generation of a single generation, and its mother warned it before she died that she must have children before going out to wander the world. It is precisely for this reason that this stupid big guy is so afraid of death. In this regard, Li Chang'an once again underestimated the wisdom of the thorn bear. Based on the fact that the previous generation of female bears had the awareness to continue the family line, it can be seen that the thorn bear family has wisdom that is no less than that of mature humans. This is extremely rare among the thorn bears whose brains are only as big as walnuts. Fortunately, there is signal in the ecological park, and Li Chang'an found the suitable candidate through a private chat on his mobile phone. Lao Li, you have to pay for the time I wasted. It's just a few hours, and it's unethical for you to let me stay here for just 1 hour. At least 3 barbecue meals. A swarthy young man with a fleshy body put his arms around Li Chang'an's neck and made a 3 sign with his hands. This boy, who is a head taller than Li Chang'an, is named Bai Wenxian. His family works in ranching. He has a cheerful and enthusiastic personality. Li Chang'an also has a pretty good relationship with him. Nonsense, I recommended this guy to you. You have to pay me for 5 barbecues, and it must be Lao Wang's barbecue on Wuhan Street. Li Chang'an slapped Bai Wenxian's hand away and gave him a 5. Bai Wenxian walked down the slope and said, okay, then I have to take a closer look at how awesome the pets you recommend are. Li Chang'an chuckled lightly and said, I won't say it's awesome, but it's absolutely impossible for you to refuse. Bai Wenxian's eyes flickered, and there was a hint of expectation in his heart. He knew that Li Chang'an's character would never be aimless. Moreover, given Li Chang'an's family background, his vision for pet animals is not that bad. Li Chang'an pointed behind him and said, no, this is the pet I recommend. Bai Wenxian, thorn bear, are you kidding me? Thorn bear is very good. Apart from being brainless, he is very strong in other aspects. But the last thing Bai Wenxian wants is this kind of pet beast. There was a hint of helplessness on the dark boy's face. That's it, are you kidding me? Li Chang'an smiled and commented casually, it can play dead. Playing dead. Bai Wenxian's expression was a little solemn. The grumpy bear who fought without caring about his life or death would actually pretend to be dead. This means that even in battle, the opponent will be different from other members of the same race and still retain a trace of rationality. The evolutionary potential of the thorn bear is good. There are 2 king-level evolutions. Each one is a battlefield meat grinder, but they all have a shortcoming, they can easily lose their minds. How terrifying is a battlefield meat grinder with reason? Bai Wenxian slightly reversed his stubborn prejudice. This bear was not incapable of contracting. Li Chang'an's mental power had already noticed the boy's emotional fluctuations, and he secretly smiled in his heart. Young man, you are not being manipulated by me. Then Li Chang'an signaled the thorn bear to use the thorn's totem skill. A green thorn grew slowly from the ground, emitting light green light within a 3-meter radius. Along with it came Bai Wenxian's green glasses. He just grabbed Li Chang'an's shoulders and said excitedly, Old Li, please let me contract this thorn bear. I'll treat you to 5 meals, oh no, 10 Din Lao Wang's barbecue. Li Chang'an knew that as long as Thorn Bear showed the skill Thorn Totem, Bai Wenxian would definitely kneel down and worship him. Because Bai Wenxian comes from a beast-controlling family, the Bai family. The Bai family has a close relationship with the military, and the family is rich in shaman-type pets. Therefore, many armies in Z province will have 1 or 2 Bai family members. But although the Bai family is rich in shaman-type pet beasts, with such a large descendant of the Bai family, it is lucky for everyone to get one. Bai Wenxian's father is the son-in-law, but his mother is the sister of an elder in the Bai family's core circle, so Bai Wenxian has the quota of a shaman-type pet beast. But as a member of the Bai family, who doesn't want to have a similar pet beast in his team? Li Chang'an showed an expression that was half smiling, and Bai Wenshin's expression suddenly changed with excitement, like a wilted flower, and said, "Be gentle." Li Chenggen said with a smile, "Give it food and shelter, and find more wives for it in the future, so as to break the curse of being passed down alone for 23 generations in the family." Bai Wenshin groaned, "That's all. Otherwise, the few copper coins in your trouser pocket are less than a fraction of my monthly pocket money." Bai Wenshin was a little surprised. Although his mother was rich, it didn't mean that he was rich. He was indeed very poor. The Bai family has a military style and maintains the tradition of raising children in poverty and raising daughters in wealth. Bai Wenshin is indeed extremely poor. The 5 barbecue meals he can afford are all his savings over the years. Bai Wenshin chuckled, punched Li Chenggen in the chest, and said, "I owe you one." Li Chenggen rolled his eyes in return. After getting Li Chenggen's permission, Bai Wenshin attacked the thorn bear like an idiot, and was so frightened that he backed away and hid behind Li Chenggen. If Bai Wenshin hadn't taken out the low-level spiritual food from the bag later, the thorn bear would really have been unwilling to let Bai Wenshin touch it. After Thorn Bear found his home, it was already 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Li Chenggen and Bai Wenshin returned to the space teleportation array, where many students had already returned with their favorite pets. Therefore, the valley at this time is more noisy and vibrant. It was not until Li Chenggen laid out the cushions, took out his lunch, and put out Mau Mau to eat that the noisy valley suddenly became silent. Except for the thorn bear and the little rabbit, who were already prepared, the pet beasts chosen by the others were all lying on the ground shivering, as if they had seen some terrifying demon king. Bai Wenshin cursed. "When did you contract the initial pet beast? Is it a dragon pet beast? And you opened up a space for beast control?" Li Chenggen calmly fed the lava jelly to Mau Mau, took out a sandwich and took a bite, saying, "Your information page is so outdated. Many people should know that I contracted a pet beast." The surrounding students' mouths went dry when they heard Li Chenggen's complaints. They knew it, but they were not beast masters before and had no pets. "Where can I detect the terrifying suppression of ordinary pet beasts on Mau Mau?" Dragon-type beasts that can exert pressure on humans at this stage must be at the sub-dragon level. Ordinary dragons only have this kind of power after reaching the king level. Mau Mau has always been in a state of restrained breath, so these people can't feel anything except pet beasts. It was only now that some students who had signed the contract felt the terrifying power of Mau Mau from the pet beast. Bai Wenshin took a deep look at Li Chenggen, and some words were stuck in his throat. The little rabbit hugged by Li Chenggen was also looked at by Bai Wenshin several times, and the excitement of getting the thorn bear suddenly dissipated. He was certain that this little rabbit was more special than the thorn bear, otherwise Li Chenggen, who has always been picky, would not be so precious. But as Li Chenggen said before, the most suitable one is the best. Bai Wenshin was lucky enough to get the thorn bear. No need to think about what is there and what is not. So Bai Wenshin put aside the distracting thoughts in his heart and chatted enthusiastically with Li Chenggen. After finishing 3 lava meals, Mau Mau yawned and consciously returned to the beast-controlling space. It is also in the awakening phase, where energy replenishment and lots of sleep are a must. As soon as Mau Mau disappeared, the little pet beasts around him breathed a sigh of relief, glanced in Li Chenggen's direction with fear, and ran to the beast master's arms to cry. Some students had a look of despair on their faces. They were contracted with large pet beasts like thorn bears. Even in the awakening stage, this kind of pet beast is not much smaller. Rather than saying that the pet beasts seek comfort in their arms, it is better to say that the pet beasts pick them up and use them as hand towels to wipe their tears. Bai Wenshin asked curiously, "Lao Li, you haven't reached level 2 yet." It will be Li Chenggen's turn to be desperate. Well, it will take another 2 months. Bai Wenshin was shocked. "So long. You must know that after the beast control space is opened, it is quite fast for a level 1 beast control master to break through to a level 2 beast control master. The fastest is 1 week, and the slowest is only 1 month. 2 months is indeed a bit long," Li Chenggen said with a distressed look on his face. "The space for controlling the beast is a bit bigger." Bai Wenshin. He hoped he would have this trouble tomorrow too. Today is the day for the initial pet beast of the contract, and tomorrow is the day for the school organization to jointly open up a space for beast control. The researcher who just walked over heard Li Chenggen's distress and took a few deep breaths to calm down his ups and downs. As a master's degree from a key university, his vision is not as narrow as Bai Wenxian's. It takes 2 months for a new beast master to break through to level 2. The size of this beast master space is at least 400 cubic meters. You must know that for more than 80% of newcomers, the space for beast control is less than 100 cubic meters. The precise data is 25 cubic to 70 cubic, which is still far from 100 cubic. Those whose initial beast control space exceeds 100 cubic meters are all talents worthy of vigorous cultivation, accounting for 15% of the total. Less than half of the geniuses can exceed 200 cubic meters. A very small group of monsters can carve out more than 300 cubic meters of initial beast controlling space. Unfortunately, he just met a monster from Dongguang Kingdom complaining about his talent. The complexity of this can only be understood by adults who have experienced social beatings. So for the sake of his own psychological balance, the researcher sent a message to the research group of his institute. Don't be bald, it's better to have fun alone than to have fun together. I just heard a student complaining that it would take him 2 months to break through to level 2 beast master. Autumn wind bleak. One glance, it's fake. Lao Na uses Qingliang, let me see which brat is bragging. Don't be bald, Li Chenggen's photo. JPG. Spiny crab black powder, Deputy Director Li Mingxuan, 6. Lao Na uses Qingliang, withdraw a statement. Lao Na uses Qingliang, Director, I was wrong. Bleak autumn wind. A thimble at a glance. Full-time wife. Taste a person's loneliness. Fried potatoes with ginger, good luck all the way. Lao Na Yang Qingliang has been banned for 72 hours by the administrator, full-time wife. The researcher smiled with relief, put away his mobile phone with satisfaction, and walked towards the space formation with brisk steps. This group of students was gathered and sent back to the institute. Li Mingxuan was sitting in the office and accidentally learned a piece of gossip about his son. Half of his face was immersed in darkness, making the other half look particularly gloomy. Kick, 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 the darkness is swallowing. Li Mingxuan turned behind him helplessly and said, Shaolin, don't play music while I'm thinking, and don't open the curtains. The office is already airtight, and this time it will be even more uncomfortable for you. A humanoid beast wearing an apron and a headset decorated with headphones covered his chuckling mouth and turned off the stereo in his hand. Then he opened the closed curtains, and the summer afternoon sunlight shone directly into the dull office. This is a rare soul-based pet beast, a musical performer. Nana, is it about Shaoan? Li Mingxuan rubbed his eyebrows and replied tiredly, part of it is. I just know why Shaoan came to ask about the auxiliary medicine some time ago. The musician carefully rubbed Li Mingxuan's temples with both hands and asked, Nah. What's wrong? It will take Shaoan 2 months to advance to level 2 Beast Master, which means that his initial Beast Master space will be at least 400 cubic meters. The musician covered her mouth in surprise, Nah. There are actually 400 cubic meters. It understands what 400 cubic meters means. Not only will pet beasts live more comfortably in the beast controlling space, the huge mantra aura can also provide them with a better cultivation environment. In addition, the large space for beast control also means that Shaoan can learn some space-based beast master abilities in the future, which will greatly increase his strength and survivability. It learned from its seniors that Li Mingxuan's initial beast controlling space was only 230 cubic meters, and it had already been taken away by the boss. And Shaoan is better than his predecessor, almost twice as much. What will it be like? Speaking of which, it has not seen Shaoan for a long time. There was a hint of softness in the eyes of the musical performer. Compared to Li Mingxuan and Mu Qingqing, it was the one who accompanied Li Chenggen the longest. The Li family's parents are very busy at work, and Li Chenggen has been taking care of her since she was in elementary school. Li Mingxuan patted the musician's arm and said softly, as long as you survive this period of time, you will be able to meet Shaoan. He will definitely be surprised by then. The music player thought about the future scene, and her already crisp laughter became more and more pleasant. Li Chenggen returned to the research institute, moved tables and chairs from the adjacent research room very familiarly, and watched the show silently with several teachers. The first priority for these students who came back from the ecological park is to sign a soul contract with the initial pet beast. There is no safer place than the Institute of Ecology. Because even if something fails and something happens, the doctors here are the best and the closest. Students who can obtain the Apprentice Beast Master qualification issued by the school must have a mental power of more than 5 talisman. But there is no shortage of accidents in this world. In the hour Li Chang'an watched the show, more than a dozen students had already failed in their contracts. There was also an unlucky guy who suffered mental backlash during the contract process. Even if he was treated by a doctor, he had to rest for a day or two before trying the contract again. During this period, Li Chang'an named the little rabbit Li Yao, nicknamed Yao Yao. Yao Yao was very quiet in his arms. Only when Thorn Bear and Bai Wenxian formed a contract, her body felt a little nervous. The small green paws were tightly clasped on Li Chang'an's arm. After seeing that the Thorn Bear was successfully contracted, he relaxed. Guji, will it be so thrilling if I sign a contract with you in the future? After Mao Mao finished translating, Li Chang'an explained, this will only happen the first time. I have already signed a contract with Mao Mao, so it will be very easy when it is your turn. Yao Yao breathed a sigh of relief and quietly watched the show on Li Chang'an's arm. After a while, Li Chang'an discovered that Yao Yao had fallen asleep without knowing it. No matter how mature Yao Yao is, she is still a cub in the awakening stage. After experiencing so many things, she is already very tired. After informing several leading teachers, Li Chang'an carried Yao Yao to the lounge of the research institute. At this point, most of the researchers had already started working, so naturally there were not many people in the lounge. This is convenient for Li Chang'an himself. Not long after, another figure walked into the lounge, and it was Wen Miaohua. You are indeed here. As a relative of Li Chang'an, Wen Miaohua is also very familiar with the Institute of Ecology and knows where Li Chang'an often visits. What pet animal contract did you choose? Li Chang'an motioned to Yao Yao on the table, and Wen Miaohua's eyes lingered on Yao Yao's snow-white hair for a while. Then he asked, mutated. Li Chang'an nodded and said, I don't know, I'm more inclined to think it's a mixed race. Mixed race. Wen Miaohua's eyebrows moved and her eyes were bright. The person Li Chang'an could take a liking to must be a hybrid of a powerful rabbit-like monster. Any clues? Li Chang'an shrugged, spread his hands flat, and said, obviously not. Yao Yao's ability is a bit complicated. It has the leaf blade of the double-leaf rabbit and the blessing of the grass of the lucky grass rabbit. That talent is also outrageous. A few simple common fruits and grass, plus a little clear spring water, turned out to be a simple spiritual food. When Wen Miaohua learned that Yao Yao would be blessed with green grass, she was already amazed. When she heard the last sentence, even she didn't know what to say. Yao Yao was born specifically for the profession of spiritual food blender. Such a pet beast, even if it does not have healing abilities, can guarantee the logistics of an entire team of pet beasts. It belongs to the logistics category of pets that can only be found but cannot be found. As for Yao Yao's current low potential, she only has extraordinary and low-level potential, which is nothing to Li Chang'an's family. Not to mention that Li Chang'an's father Li Mingshuan is a senior scientific research boss, so it is not too difficult to customize a suitable evolution ceremony for Yao Yao. What matters is Yao Yao's talent and skills. Many high-level pet beasts are just like that. They have not awakened key skills, and their own value is far less than those low-level pet beasts that have awakened core skills early. From the perspective of humans, things like racial potential can be changed, as long as you pay enough price. There is a saying in the scientific research community that there is no limit to the evolution of pet animals, but we have not yet found a suitable method. Congratulations on choosing a pet beast with extraordinary potential. Wen Miaohua looked at Li Chang'an with some envy, and Li Chang'an asked, Wah, what second favorite did you pick? Wen Miaohua was a little embarrassed. Compared to Yao Yao, the second pet she chose was indeed a bit unattractive. An icy blue contract formation unfolded under Wen Miaohua's feet, and a round figure appeared in Wen Miaohua's palm. It's the ice-type snow tuner. The color of the Beast Master's contract formation has nothing to do with the level, but is related to the pet beast the Beast Master has contracted with. It is usually bright white. If there is a pet beast that far exceeds other pet beasts, or if most of the pet beasts have the same attribute, then the color of the contract formation will become the color of that attribute. It was obvious that Wen Miaohua's mysterious initial pet beast was of the ice type. What concerned Li Chang'an the most was that 3-star swords were extended from Wen Miaohua's star carving formation, which meant that the quiet girl in front of him was a level 3 beast master. One step away from being able to advance to the ranks of intermediate beast masters. Good guy, it turns out that you are the most hidden person in Hongyan number 1 middle school. A 16-year-old level 3 beast master. If nothing else goes wrong, when this snow tuner catches up with its progress, Wen Miaohua may be able to directly break through to the realm of an intermediate beast master with the feedback from the contract. Completely distanced himself from the general public. Wen Miaohua saw Li Chang'an's shock, and her knees wrapped in white knee socks rubbed uneasily. I just practiced a few years earlier than you. I'm not fast at all. You see, it took me so long to reach level 3 as a beast master. After talking about it, I didn't forget to belittle myself. Li Chang'an didn't know what to say. Wen Miaohua's parents would never let her practice medicine many years early. That has a very bad impact on the physical development of children. Wen Miaohua has been practicing for at most 2 years, not more. Could he have said that last sentence is unnecessary? Cannot. The little girl will be even more upset. Simply, Li Chang'an made Wen Miaohua even more uneasy. He suddenly approached Wen Miaohua and stared into her ethereal eyes for a long time, seeming to savor this unique clarity. Wen Miaohua felt the warm breath exhaled by Li Chang'an, and her little head was instantly overloaded. Before she lowered her head, she felt Li Chang'an pinch her cheek with his fingers. Sure enough, that piece of flesh on your face feels good. A burst of pink steam suddenly came out of the girl's head. She lowered her head and stopped looking at Li Chang'an. The snowball on Wen Miaohua's palm shouted loudly at Li Chang'an, as if to strongly condemn Li Chang'an for bullying its owner. As soon as Li Chang'an's eyes fell on Shui Tuner, the invisible pressure on her body made by Tuanzi shrink into Wen Miaohua's palm, moaning for comfort. Shui Tuner's bullying and shy character reminded Li Chang'an of the teddy dog in his previous life. The strange man who originally planned to tease the little girl received a message. Li Chang'an frowned. Comrade Li would actually look for him at this point. In desperation, Li Chang'an could only give up his original plan, spoke to Wen Miaohua, and walked to Li Mingshuan's office. Wen Miaohua looked at Li Chang'an's leaving figure and fell into a dilemma. Why did Chang'an become so proactive? Does the initial pet beast have such a big impact? However, Wen Miaohua held her face happily and smiled stupidly, while the black leather shoes under her feet were swinging in the air. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Is there anyone in there? Wen Miaohua immediately calmed down and responded coldly, is something wrong? The people outside the door were very surprised. Hey, is this voice the squad leader? Ah, it's okay. I'll leave first. The flower of jailing in Hongyan number 1 middle school will only show other expressions to the person she likes. Li Chang'an turned left and right and came to an ordinary office door. On the door was a sign with Li Mingshuan's photo and job title. Li Mingshuan, it's me. Li Mingshuan, call daddy. Li Chang'an, although what you said is reasonable, I feel that you are understanding me. Dad, open the door. Come in. Li Chang'an opened the door and walked in with a speechless expression. He glanced at the room and asked, Sister Lin isn't there? Li Mingshuan tidied the table, took out a small box from the drawer, and said, Shaolin is still busy with something. I always feel that you are doing some bad research on Sister Lin. Don't rush to deny it, you have a criminal record. Li Mingshuan looked at the traitor in front of him with pain, and he felt his stomach hurt even more. Sure enough, he should have had another daughter with Qingqing in the first place. Sooner or later, he would be angry to death from this rebellious son. Li Mingshuan asked Li Chang'an symbolically, Shaoan, how big is your beast control space? Li Chang'an picked it up and said, 500 cubic meters. Li Mingshuan's hand holding the small box paused, and then with an indifferent expression, he handed the box in his hand to Li Chang'an. It's not bad. This is for you. It will help you practice your magic power. Li Chang'an was very surprised. Didn't it say that low-level beast masters should not use auxiliary medicines to practice? It is correct for ordinary people who have not even opened up 100 cubic meters. Li Mingshuan picked up the suit on the hanger and put it on, arranged his clothes, and said, for people with more than 300 cubic meters of power, the process of filling the gap in spell power is too tortuous. Besides, what's inside is not a potion. The specific usage instructions are written in the box. Take a look for yourself. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first. Li Mingxuan didn't give Li Chang'an time to ask questions, and he opened and closed the door in one go. Li Chang'an felt that Comrade Li didn't look like he was in trouble, but looked like he was on the run. Li Mingxuan walked out of the office and came to an empty rack, waving his fists in the air excitedly. Yes, my son is a genius. Li Chang'an came inexplicably and left inexplicably. He returned to the lounge, where Wen Miaohua was still teasing Shui Tuaner. Uncle let you back so soon. Seeing Li Chang'an's appearance, Shui Tuaner immediately moved closer to Wen Miaohua's palm. Li Chang'an shook the box in his hand and said, "Just give me this thing." Wen Miaohua looked over curiously. "What is this?" "I don't know. Let's wait until I open it." Li Chang'an sat back on the stool and opened the box given by Li Mingxuan. A piece of crystal glowing with 7 colors of light lay quietly in the center of the box, with a piece of paper stuffed beside it. When Wen Miaohua saw this crystal flake, his face showed the same expression. "Chang'an, your beast control space is very large." Li Chang'an opened the piece of paper and said without raising his head, "Well, 500 cubic meters." The girl opened her moist lips slightly, took a few quick breaths, and said silently, "This is a fragment of the life crystal. It has pure life energy and a trace of space energy. It is very suitable for beast control masters to accumulate magic power and stability." The beast controlling space. Li Chang'an combined the note with Wen Miaohua's statement and determined that this was indeed a fragment of the life crystal. "I just said, how could the extraordinary world not have anything to assist low-level beast masters in their cultivation? Isn't this what happened? Why haven't you heard of this before?" Wen Miaohua explained. "First, life crystals are very precious and can only be mined in a few mineral veins in Dongguang Kingdom or deep in the life-restricted area. Second, the life crystal was originally used to assist king-level beast masters in their training, and is not suitable for use by level 1 to 9 beast masters. Even if it is a fragment, only those geniuses with a large initial beast controlling space can use it. Ordinary people can easily burst the beast controlling space using life crystals." There was a hint of surprise in Li Chang'an's eyes. No wonder Li Mingxuan didn't give him this thing before. It turns out that there are also rigid requirements for beast control space. As soon as Li Chang'an's fingertips touched the surface of the life crystal fragment, a suction force came from the depths of his soul. The bloody thorns symbol on the hunting note appeared, and in an instant, the life crystal fragments on his fingertips turned into fly ash. A strong breath of life flowed down his body into the hunting notes. Li Chang'an could clearly feel the longing emotions coming from the hunting notes. "Kill that girl, she still has it." The darkness in Li Chang'an's eyes became colder and colder. The more tempting the hunting notes urged him to be, the calmer the anger in his heart became. "What? How dare you show up so blatantly? There is no technical content at all." That's right, the mysterious darkness of the hunting notes was completely shattered in Li Chang'an's eyes. The hunting notes not only stole his life energy, but also didn't give him any benefits. To describe it in one sentence, it's a big deal. Li Chang'an's lips moved slightly, and a dark red flame appeared on his body. And as time went by, the shadows of the flames became clearer and clearer, and these flames carved out the lines of hell scales on his exposed skin. One brown eye also gradually changed into a sky blue dragon eye. The manic, angry and ancient atmosphere filled the lounge. Shui Tuaner whimpered and fainted gorgeously in the palm of Wen Miaohua's hand. Wen Miaohua took back the snow Tuaner in time, and a frosty lotus appeared behind him, and a single horn appeared, isolating the surrounding atmosphere from Wen Miaohua. "Xiaobai, what's going on in Chang'an? Hey, he has murderous intentions towards you." Wen Miaohua said firmly. "It's impossible, Chang'an won't do this." Hey. The murderous intention came from his body, and he and the monster were busy suppressing it. Wen Miaohua nodded and said, "That's it. Noob." At this time, Yao Yao, who was sleeping, was also frightened and woke up. Fortunately, Wen Miaohua protected her. Mao Mao released the fighting form in the beast control space, and the purgatory core was running crazily in the body. The beast controlling resonance soars all the way to the 50% limit of deep resonance. After crossing this boundary, the shadow of hell ability hidden in Li Chenggen's soul and Mao Mao's purgatory core began to resonate. An invisible deep force was initially born, penetrating the bloody thorn marks in the hunting notes. The blood-colored patterns on the cover of the hunting notebook dimmed for a moment, and finally fell into silence helplessly. But this deep power didn't intend to let it go, as if it wanted the hunting note to pay the price for offending it. The hunting note screamed unwillingly, like a ghost, which was breathtaking. Li Chenggen and Mao Mao's beast control resonance was almost interrupted by this shrill soul cry, but fortunately, the deep power directly shattered all the bloody light on the hunting notes. A dim bloody thorn mark floated out from the hunting notebook and was imprinted on the star-carved formation in the beast-controlling space. In an instant, the star-carving formation changed drastically. There are patterns surrounded by thorns on the edge of the complex formation. The star in the center of the formation has shrunk a lot, and is guarded by a bloody thorn flower on the stamen. Like a shining pearl, the star sword representing the level of the beast master transformed into a dark crack, appearing on the star pearl, like a god or a demon. At the moment when the star-carved formation transformed completely, Li Chenggen and Mao Mao released the beast-controlling resonance. If his physical fitness hadn't been strengthened before, this deep resonance would have been enough to kill Li Chenggen. Solved. Li Chenggen slumped weakly on the chair in the lounge and murmured. The atmosphere that filled the lounge gradually dissipated with the contact with the resonance of the beast. Wen Miaohua helped Li Chenggen up worriedly and asked, "Are you okay?" Li Chenggen waved his hand and said it was okay, and apologized to Wen Miaohua. "I need to be quiet for a while, help me take care of Yao Yao." After saying that, they entered a state of deep meditation. Wen Miaohua and Yao Yao looked at each other, and Xiaobai acted as a feather, translating Li Chenggen's words to it. Yao Yao was very sensible and lay quietly on the chair next to Wen Miaohua to rest, her eyes fixed on Li Chenggen. As soon as Li Chenggen entered deep meditation, he began to restore the power of the spell. The wave of face writing output just now not only destroyed his body, but also almost drained his magic power. He needs to slow down. No wonder his beast control space was doubled after Mao Mao awakened his talent. According to the power output just now, without the support of the 1,000 cubic meters of beast control space, he really couldn't bear it. After recovering some of his magic power, Li Chenggen began to study changes to his contract formation. The conclusion is that no abnormality has been found for the time being. The only discovery is that he absorbs life energy and refines the magic power faster. In other words, his cultivation talent has been improved. Li Chenggen suppressed his excitement and carefully explored the culprit of this change, the hunting notes. At this time, the hunting notebook seemed like an ordinary book. The bloody thorn flower on the cover of the book was very dim and not as beautiful as before. When Li Chenggen opened the hunting notebook, the blood-thorn star-carving formation shot out a bloody brilliance. A message appeared in his mind. The identity changes from a temporary holder to a possessor. The conditions for becoming a controller are cut in half. As long as the 5-page function is activated, you can become the true owner of the hunting notes. And such good things. Li Chenggen was surprised. He didn't believe that pie would fall from the sky. It doesn't seem to be a pie in the sky pie. It's the result of Mao Mao and I fighting tooth and nail. Because the hunting note gave up half of the marks, the above-mentioned condition changes were made. The piece of life crystal fragment that was swallowed at the same time also became the introduction to the activation of the 3rd-page function. The function, Chaotic Blood Feast, on the 3rd page of the hunting notes is activated. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.